Good morning, 5 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We've got a heat advisory in effect for today. Temps will rise into the mid-90s and the heat index will be between 100 and 105 degrees. More with Stefano right after the news. Score one for the little guy. The Tennessee Valley Authority has given up on its plans for a methane plant at the Lockettsville Road site in Cheatham County. Country music star John Rich celebrating that announcement.
Hundreds of homes are going to be saved, thousands of acres of farmland, century-old farms. TVA has tucked their tail and they are running. And
yeah, he had called on President Trump, he said, to stop that plant from just before the announcement was made. The TVA says it is considering another nearby industrial park. Yet another crash involving a pedestrian, this time in Clarksville. A woman was struck last night in the southbound lanes of Fort Campbell Boulevard near Leland Drive. News 2's Peyton Kennedy.
This woman was flown to Nashville in a life flight helicopter. Police say her condition is not known at this time, but fatal crash investigators were called to the scene.
Now, it's not known if the driver stopped. We're hoping to learn more about this today. The Jeffrey Epstein issue is not going away. House Speaker Mike Johnson calling for more transparency from the Department of Justice. He spoke to podcaster Benny Johnson.
Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it.
Yeah, and the drumbeat for the release of the documents is growing louder.
At least one Republican is demanding answers despite pushback from his own party. Congressman Thomas Massie introducing a petition in the House overnight aiming to force a vote to release the files in full.
ABC's Perry Russum there. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
A mixed finish for stocks on Wall Street as investors digested the latest inflation report that shows consumer prices rose 2.7% compared to June of last year. The Dow lost 416 points. The S&P dipped 24. The Nasdaq gained 37. One influential stock helped to moderate markets, Nvidia. It rose almost 4% after the company said the Trump administration signed off on deliveries of its advanced H2O computer chips used for artificial intelligence to China. Citigroup rose 4% following its better-than-expected profit report. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Stock futures pointing down at this point. The Dow futures unchanged right now. NASDAQ futures down 61. S&P futures, they're -6. That's the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. There is a crash this morning. It's on 40 westbound before Highway 109. That's exit 232, and it takes out 2 left lanes. Careful in that area this morning. Otherwise, looking good so far. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.506 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 89.7. Good morning to you, friends. Your weather for today. Joan, fact-check me on this. High of 95 and possible showers.
Correct.
So very hot day indeed.
There's a heat advisory as well.
It's a heat advisory?
Because the temps are up there in the 90s, but the heat index will be like 100 to 105.
Okay, so as that once great philosopher said, Glenn Fry, the heat is on.
The heat is on, yes.
Thank you.
I knew you were going there.
Did you? Am I getting that predictable, am I? All right, very good. Thank you, Joan. I appreciate it. By the way, thank you for all the thoughts and prayers. My brown recluse spider bite, I think, just turned out to be a little pimple on the back of my leg. That seems like what it is because it's gone away. So,
can I tell you what your wife said?
What did my wife say, Joan?
I bet it's an ingrown hair.
Okay, I'm gonna sneak into my wife's phone and I'm gonna block you.
Don't do that.
That's what I'm going to do.
I get my Amy info.
When are you and my lovely my 2 wives, work wife and home wife? You guys are going back and forth, are you?
Well, I mean, sometimes we chat.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Very good. Tell her there's no toilet paper downstairs in my bathroom. That'd be great. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Joan. People in Los Angeles, they are really angry. Now, I'm just going to warn you folks up front. There's a lot of Gavin Newsom in the radio broadcast today because he's everywhere doing and saying a lot of stupid stuff. Have you heard, Joan, the interview that Gavin Newsom did with Sean Ryan?
Oh, yes.
So if there's one thing that really does personify the interview that Gavin Newsom did with Sean Ryan right here in Franklin, I'm assuming, or maybe he went to L.A. or
no,
whatever.
he was at Sean Ryan's place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he curses a lot.
He
Gavin
uses
Newsom.
That. Yeah.
GD. I think he used the SH bomb. I think he may have said the F bomb as well. But I know he utilized a lot of GD.
Which is surprising because Sean Ryan is a faithful Christian. And I would think that he'd say, dude, no more of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have not seen the whole interview. I saw chunks of it. But I got to tell you that it is, and I've experienced this with Gavin Newsom before. We're going to play some of the audio coming up at 5:35. But fact-checking Gavin Newsom is exhausting. And here's why. Do you know what he does? And I noticed that he did this during the debate that he did with Governor DeSantis out there in Florida, where you had Sean Hannity and he was hosting or moderating, and then you had Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis. And so basically it was which state is better, Florida or California, and Newsom he throws a bunch of crap against the wall, right? He'll throw a bunch of facts at you. Oh, California is this and California is that. And he throws so much stuff against the wall, and it's like, okay, well, then you have to start fact-checking all of the things that Gavin Newsom says, and I'm going to do some of this at 5:35. And he throws out a bunch of what I would say out-of-context facts, okay, half-truths, facts. And I got to tell you, that we're just going to cover a few things that, at least to me, were relatively easy to fact check him on. But I guarantee you, the deeper you go, the more the lies and the obfuscations about how well California is doing is going to be clearly evident. And so I think that the reason why it's so important is because Gavin Newsom is running for president in 2028. I believe that everybody knows that. And so bottom line, and I'm going to repeat this at 5:36, is how do you want your nation to be? Do you want your nation to be more like California, or do you want your nation to be more like Florida? I mean, most people, and certainly most people that are listening right now, want their nation to be like Florida. And so we'll play some of this audio, and I'll do some fact checking of Gavin Newsom, because again, half-truths, a lot of this information that he is throwing against the wall, really out of context as well, lies, obfuscations, fabrications, the whole thing. So we'll get into that. And I don't think it was Sean Ryan's. I don't think and I like Sean Ryan a lot. So I'm not saying anything negative about Sean Ryan. What I'm saying is I don't think that it was his intent or his job to try to fact check the California governor. By the way, I don't know if you saw this, Joan, that one of the things that he did, what Sean Ryan did, he gave Gavin Newsom a gun. I don't know if you saw that, but he did. He gave him a gun as like a gift. Every guest, I guess, on his show gets a gift. So that's number one. And number two is Joe Rogan sent in a question for Sean Ryan to ask Gavin Newsom. And again, we'll get into that at 5:35. But, people in California, specifically Los Angeles, are really angry. In the last couple of days, there's been a lot of frustration over the fact that Gavin Newsom, the governor, has committed $101 million to purchase land in the Palisades. Of course, the Palisades destroyed by fire months ago. $101 million for that low-income housing. Now, again, you have to realize that the Palisades, this area of Los Angeles, that is the higher end. You've got a lot of money in the Palisades. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of old money. And there's a lot of Democrats that are in this particular area. And so the fires hit. And I want you to remember what happened when the fires hit. Remember all this? Because we spoke about this. There wasn't enough working fire hydrants, lack of fire personnel. The fire chief was very woke, always worried about DEI. We need more LGBTQ fire personnel. On it goes. We had reservoirs that were totally empty. You had the stories of how water could not get from Northern California to the southern part of California because of all of that environmental red tape. All of that BS. And the town burned. And so now, while residents are trying to wade through all of the really long process of rebuilding and getting their permits and working through insurance and all of that, trying to get fire crews, crews to rebuild their homes, the governor decides that he is going to spend $101 million basically buying up the land for cheap, basically pennies on the dollar, as a matter of fact. And they want to put apartment buildings in Palisades. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't have any intention of ever returning to my hometown of California, of Los Angeles, but I know that how gorgeous and beautiful the Palisades was, and this is what he wants to do. He wants to put up low-income housing, and people are really mad.
The people that are in charge of this bill, they're the people in charge of letting the whole town burn down, okay?
Yep.
You can say whatever you want, but all their decisions, all their negligence, all that's why we have no town in the Palisades. Why would we ever have them in charge of rebuilding what they let burn down?
You know who that is? That is an actor by the name of Spencer Pratt. And I don't know his specific political views. I don't know what his political bent is. But the bill that he's talking about is SB 549. Now, what is SB 549? That is really just the latest in a number of legislative bills that have gone through the California state legislature, signed by the governor, that is allowing them to buy this land incredibly cheap. And ultimately, you know what they're doing? They're taking away like really local control. They're taking control away from, the local city council or, whatever you might have in the Palisades. And the county and the state is coming in and buying this land, this really expensive land, where multi-million-dollar homes used to be on. Their negligence saw those homes burn to the ground, and now they're going to put up low-income apartment buildings, and people are angry. Got a little bit more on this. It is 5:15 on Super Talk 99.7. Time to check the roads.
You've got an accident in South Nashville this morning. It's on 24 at the eastbound side at Murfreesboro Pike, exit 52. Watch that. And then 2 left lanes blocked off on I-40 westbound before Highway 109. It looks like this may be being picked up soon. Also, the widening work on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard, exit 95, and Louisville Highway, exit 98. That work continues today. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Think of Joan. It's my bad. 5:16 on Nashville. You know what happens? I'm so excited to be here every single day that I'm always jumping the gun. So I apologize.
I think you just need to switch to decaf.
Oh, you don't want to hear me on decaf.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as engaging and fun as if I'm actually on coffee, which, by the way, I'm on a Red Bull and 2 cups so far this morning.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to California. Do you know who Steve Hinton is, by the way?
I don't.
Steve Hinton, he is a former Fox News commentator. And he's the bald guy, and he speaks with, I don't know what that is, an English accent, whatever it is. But he is running.
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, he is running for governor of California. Gavin Newsom is, I believe he is termed out. And he's, of course, going to be running for president. So Steve Hinton, he goes to the Palisades, and he sets up a podium that says, Steve Hinton for governor on all of this. And he's in front of the charred remains of someone's billion-dollar home, and he starts going after Gavin Newsom. And he's really angry that the state and the county have come in. They're buying the land really fast and really cheap to put in this low-income housing. Something, again, Gavin Newsom says that he ultimately, a while ago, said that he would not do, and now he's doing it. And this is what Steve Hinton has to say. By the way, Republican.
What we see here in Pacific Palisades and what we see across California now is the Democrat war on single-family homes accelerating.
Yeah, this is, again, Steve Hinton. He is running for governor. Newsom, he said that he wouldn't do this, and they actually said, this is just a conspiracy theory, that the state of California is going to come in and buy all this land. It's just a conspiracy theory. Well, what are we at? 6 months or so? Conspiracy theory does come true. And he's angry. And the reason he's angry and Californians are angry is because this is what California has been doing all across the state.
That's why they're not issuing permits. That's why it's taking so long. They don't want people to stay here. They don't want people to rebuild the Palisades the way it was. They want it rebuilt the way Gavin Newsom is talking, reimagining LA 2.0. What does that mean? It means apartment buildings.
It means equity, Steve. That's what it means.
Everywhere. This is their agenda all along. You see it in all this legislation over the years.
Yeah, he goes on to mention all of these different bills that California has passed. Now, remember, the phrase that pays in LA is equity. Everyone needs to be at the same level. It doesn't matter who has accomplished what. It doesn't matter how much education you have, how much sacrifice people have made, the investment that people have put in. Everyone must be at the same level because that's what the Democrats these days bow to the altar of. It is this notion of equity. Because why should, ladies and gentlemen, why should one person have a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom home with a pool at 5,000 square feet when you can put up a 7-story apartment building up in that same footprint and put a bunch of people inside at really low income? I mean, if you are somebody who is a Democrat and you bow to the altar of equity, then we shouldn't have millionaires and billionaires. We should have everybody living in these low-income apartment buildings. That's what Gavin Newsom apparently wants.
Apartment buildings up to 7 stories to be built anywhere in California. No one has a say about it. That's what they want to see here in Pacific Palisades. That's what they want right across the state, because that's their extreme ideology, to tell you how to live.
Yep. So, and by the way, just as he said, this legislation, and I just said a few minutes ago, strips away local control. Local communities have no say. It is the state and the county that can just come in and buy that land for cheap. And you heard him say nobody is, nobody is getting permits. Nobody is able to wade through all of that red tape because they ultimately want that land because of equity so that they can put up these low-income apartment buildings. I can't even imagine why anybody would not just take the money and run. And I guess that would be my question. You know what? I'm going to be on next Sunday night, Monday morning, I'm going to be on Red Eye Radio. You know what I'm going to do, Joan? I'm going to ask people in California, why don't you just take the money and run?
Yeah, right.
Do you know, I've actually done that before. Why don't you just take the money and run?
Yeah.
There's an actor and actress, I don't know, I don't remember their names, but they live in, you know what, Joan, text Amy. She'll tell you the names of these actors and actresses. But they actually live in my little neighborhood there. Uh-huh. And, huge home. And but they took the money and ran because they clearly saw what was going on in California, and they left. And so for a lot of people that live in the Southland, I don't even know why anybody would bother. If you live in the Palisades and you had insurance, just take it and go.
Yeah. There are so many people. So my son lives in Murfreesboro, and it's a newer development, and there are so many people there from California.
Oh, yeah.
Transplants. Mm-hmm. Yep. Wanted out. They just wanted out.
I feel like I got out at just the right time.
Yeah.
What is that, like 20 years ago now? I think
wow.
It's been 20. I know. 20 years ago. And the only reason I have to go back is to see the Reagan Museum. Once I go see that up in Simi Valley,
you're done.
I am DUN done. All right, 522 on Nashville's Morning News. By the way, coming up at some point, Adam Carolla. Wait till you hear what he has to say about Gavin Newsom. So there's a lot coming up on Super Talk 99.7. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
A Tennessee death row inmate is asking for a special accommodation before he's put to death. And an hours-long barricade situation in Smyrna yesterday. We'll tell you how that ended. That's coming up here at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
527, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, find us on, basically, we are now everywhere. We are on Rumble. We're on YouTube, of course. We're on Facebook. We're on X. And you can find us at 997WTN.com, the website. And, of course, you can also find us on the radio at 99.7 W99.7 FM on your FM dial. And if you go and you follow us, follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show, we are now putting the Daily Dan poll up on the on my X, my Twitter feed, again, at Dan Mandis Show, and also on YouTube. Now, I particularly like, Joan, today's question.
Mm-hmm.
So, KGB, first how did you, because I kind of give him a sketch of what I want to do, and he goes ahead and types it out. So what is, how did you word it on YouTube?
Do influencers lose credibility when they drop a story at the behest of politicians?
Okay, so.
This is Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, but Laura Ingraham too.
Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah.
Ben
Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. So I posted on my X, do influencers lose credibility when they drop a story, Epstein, at the request of politicians? So 90% of the people, now it's early, 90% of the people said yes, they do lose credibility. 10% said no. What are people saying on YouTube?
91% say yes to 9% no.
So Laura Ingraham, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk. I don't know what you folks are thinking. I truly don't. Megyn Kelly eviscerated Charlie Kirk and some of these other folks. Have you heard this audio?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play that and a whole lot more coming up. It is 5:30, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 5:30 and 77 degrees right now. We'll get up to about 96 later on. An hours-long barricade situation in Smyrna yesterday after a man entered the Legacy Wine and Spirit store on Lee Victory Parkway and began throwing bottles of alcohol and firing his gun.
All 4 people who were inside, 3 employees and 1 customer, made it out without being injured.
And we start route to Legacy Wine and Spirits.
Police showed up soon after.
He should be right inside the front door. The automatic door keeps opening and closing.
Beginning what became a 4-hour standoff as the man barricaded himself inside the store.
Suspect's walking around inside that storeroom, just inside the back door. He does have the firearm in his right hand and a cell phone in his left hand.
The incident shut down roads surrounding the store for hours.
That's WSMV4's Courtney Allen. Now, that man eventually did walk out of the store and went down to the ground. He was arrested. He was not identified. We are expecting a ruling today after a Tennessee death row inmate asked for a special accommodation when he is put to death. Byron Black has been on death row for decades for the killing of his girlfriend and her 2 little girls in Nashville in the 1980s. WSMV4's Alexandria Adams.
His attorneys are now asking that judge to have his implanted defibrillator turned off in that execution. Now, they say if it stays active, it could potentially keep shocking his heart, leading to a long and painful death.
Black is set to be executed on August 5th. In a Maryland courtroom today, a federal judge is expected to rule on whether Kilmar Abrego Garcia should remain in ICE custody or be returned to Maryland. He's in a Tennessee jail now, awaiting his trial on human smuggling. If released to return to Maryland, ICE would likely take custody and deport him to a third country. Last week, the judge in the case signaled she may protect Abrego Garcia from ICE deportation. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. So watch yourself in Lebanon. It's I-40 westbound before Highway 109. That's exit 232, where you may find a crash there with a couple of left lanes blocked off. Looks like traffic is beginning to slow down already as you're entering the 24 westbound area right at 40, the eastern split there. Looks pretty good as you're heading in from the north this morning. No problems on 65 or 24 heading eastbound. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.537 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you being here. Joan is here.
Yes.
KGB is here as well. So there's another protest this week
Oh, no.
on the 17th.
For what?
All of it. It's the Good Trouble Lives On protest.
Oh, my gosh.
A National Day of Action. So this is from Newsweek. And again, I'm going to say it again. Do these people not have jobs? Like, this is the 17th,
Definitely not.
so this is like going to be on a Thursday, right? Tomorrow. Anti-Donald Trump protests are planned nationwide for July 17th. What to know? So it's the Good Trouble Lives On, and it's going to take place on the anniversary of the death of John Lewis, the Democratic congressman and civil rights icon, so on and so. I mean, I don't know how many different protests they're going to have. The protests, they say, are the latest round of nationwide demonstrations against the Trump administration since he returned to office in January, organized by the 5501 movement, 50 protests, 50 states, one movement, and other groups. Is it okay? So I'm going to say something gross. When I heard them say movement, I thought of poop.
Well, there's a good reason for that.
Exactly, Joan.
Yeah. The USA Today says the coalition of organizations behind the protests were also behind the nationwide No Kings demonstrations.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yeah, they just don't have anything to do with it.
Do you know what I could say? I could say when I thought of, like, number one, bull poop.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit. All right, I'll move on. They say that, this is what they say. Organizers say that we are facing the most brazen rollback of civil rights in generations.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Whether you're outraged by attacks on voting rights, has there been anybody in America that has been denied the opportunity to vote? As a matter of fact,
no.
Aren't the Democrats the ones that are out there saying, hey, wait a minute. We've won all of these little special elections. That's one of the talking points, right? Anyway, they say we're facing the most brazen rollback of civil rights in generations, whether you are outraged by attacks on voting rights, the gutting of essential services, disappearance of our neighbors, or the assault on free speech and our right to protest, this movement is for you.
I'm so disappointed. There's one in Tullahoma.
Out by you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disappointed.
Now, what I don't understand is, okay, so the assault on free speech and our right to protest, they've had 50 protests or whatever. I mean, they're having all of these different protests. So how exactly is it that the Trump administration is going after their right to protest? All these protests, they're like nonsensical. They don't make any sense because it's like they're trying to make anger happen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
It's like, okay, what we're going to do is we are just going to constantly talk about how the Trump administration is doing all of these different things, yet the reality is they're just angry that he won. That's all that they're doing.
That's clearly all that it is.
But you know what else this thing is? It's also fake.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to this. There is some audio out there This is need some audio, KGB. This is the CEO of an organization called Crowds on Demand. Right?
Yeah.
And he says that he was actually offered $20 million to recruit demonstrators for the anti-Trump protests on Thursday. You know, look at that. Donald Trump is creating jobs in so many different ways. So this is what he had to say.
Have the organizers of the July 17th demonstrations approached you?
Interests aligned with the organizers of the July 17th movement have approached us. And in fact, we rejected an offer that probably is worth around $20 million.
$20 million?
Correct. I mean, this is a nationwide thing, right? It's not to say I would have made $20 million personally, but the value of the contract would have been worth around that amount nationwide to organize huge demonstrations around the country. But personally, I just don't think it's effective. So I'm not trying to call myself virtuous for rejecting it. What I'm saying is, I'm rejecting it not because I don't want to take the business, but because, frankly, this is going to be ineffective.
So he's obviously a Democrat. And so part of what he is saying is, well, I don't think these are going to be effective. I think he's right, because really, who are they trying to convince? You're not going to convince the Republicans. Donald Trump has an 85% approval rating amongst the Republican Party. The Hill, we talked about this yesterday with some of the polling, where the Hill even shows that the Democrats are still immensely unpopular within their own party. They're rudderless. They have no leader. Even Barack Obama comes out and says, you know how to deal with Trump? Less navel gazing is what he said. And so, and independents, according to that Hill polling, showed that independents are still siding and leaning with the Republican Party and Trump. And this CEO of Crowds on Demand, he's actually worried not only that they're going to be ineffective, but that there might also be violence.
It's going to make us all look bad.
So I asked Swart who exactly offered him the $20 million. That, of course, was the natural question, but he says he would not say, says he does not talk about who exactly his clients are, that it would be bad for business, and he's been in business for 15 years, and he has to turn down a lot of contracts. But, you know, interesting, $20 million is it's a lot of money.
And how angry can these people actually be as a political party if they have to go out and hire protesters? And it's funny because Republicans have been saying this for how long?
Yeah.
How long have Republicans been saying that all of this is just smoke and mirrors? And Democrats will say, oh, it's nothing but a conspiracy theory. Don't you know there's a groundswell of anger against the Trump administration and you know, grassroots and all this other kind of crap. And the reality is that people are so angry in this country that the Democrats have to go out and hire protesters. A little bit more.
Oh, Brian, quickly, before I let you go, did he explain about why he doesn't want to be involved with Thursday's protests?
Well, he said he had some concern about violence based on what he's seen in the past, but mostly he just doesn't think that it's productive or really making a difference, big picture, about how the country feels about President Trump. And he says he just didn't want to get involved.
So there you go. So he thinks there's going to be violence. And
Great.
he doesn't think that this whole thing is going to be effective. I don't think it'll be effective. I mean, are we at the point now we just don't, how bad is this? I probably read the news at least 3 to 4 hours every single day outside of being on the radio. I didn't even know this was happening on the 17th. Did you?
No. And I watch news every day.
KGB, did you know?
No.
Nobody knew. No, Sam, did you know training? Nobody knew. Nobody knew about this. So
We're busy having lives.
Well, that's exactly. We're busy working, busy having lives, and busy, you know, as Donald Trump is succeeding in every corner of his administration, sans Epstein. Donald Trump is doing really, really well. So, you know, now you apparently have the list in front of you. Are there any Nashville?
I didn't
protests?
see Nashville, so it's the goodtroubleliveson.org website.
We have a John Lewis Way in downtown Nashville.
Yeah, so it's actually at the Tennessee State Library and Archives in Nashville.
Okay.
Get in good trouble and redeem the soul of America, the John Lewis Way March.
Okay.
So it's that, by the way, is happening on Saturday.
That's not, so they didn't even get the date right.
Right. That's 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on
All right.
Saturday.
Well,
so,
Wait, just 3 hours?
well,
Well,
you
it's,
know,
it's pretty
you can
expensive to
rage
hire all
on.
those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Starbucks closes. What time? Like they don't serve breakfast or anything. I don't know. Like a bunch of losers.
Here's my question. All right, so KGB, you always talk about how. Watch this, John. KGB, you're always talking about how you need some extra money.
Oh no, not
Come
why
on.
don't you go out?
This is great.
And see if you can get hired.
How much are they paying?
You know what the funny thing is? I have no idea.
What
does the average protester get paid these days?
There's probably some. They probably get paid pretty well. They have to if they're going to go out there in the blazing sun.
$20 an
Yeah.
hour, $25 an hour. I don't know what's good these days. I mean, it's more than we pay. I'm
The
sure.
funny thing is that, I told you that there's a heat advisory for today.
Yes.
It's also for tomorrow and for Saturday.
Heat advisory, BS advisory as well.
Yeah.
We're on a BS watch now. We've gone from a BS advisory to a BS watch because of the whole good trouble protests. So I just think they're being silly. Now, Megyn Kelly. I'm not going to do anything Epstein related. Is there anything new on Epstein? I don't know if there really is.
Well, except that President Trump said yesterday that Pam Bondi should release. She should release whatever she thinks is credible.
Well, he's. I mean, yeah.
I mean,
think
that's
he
kind
said
of
that.
a walk. It's a bit of a walk back. I wouldn't say that he fully walked it back, but that's a kind of a puts it in her court kind of thing.
Well, she should. I mean,
Clearly,
yeah.
But he's been saying all along,
We've all been-
why you bothering with this?
Yeah, that's true. Trump sometimes, and I love Trump, it's like trying to juggle Jell-O. You know what I mean? Where trying to
Yes.
figure out where he stands on something.
Yeah.
I think he's listening to the blowback, and I think he's seeing the feedback. So yes, I believe that he should. She has not done a press conference.
No,
Pam Bondi. She's not done a press conference or anything.
she took questions over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
She was on stage for something. Did you see that?
No.
She was on stage and she just said,
Was that the Turning Point thing?
it may have been. Was she there?
I don't know.
I don't think she was.
All right. Well, in any event,
Yeah.
Megyn Kelly is now calling out all of these influencers that have suddenly just decided to drop the Epstein thing. I find this abhorrent, and I don't know why. Take the Daily Dan poll on YouTube. Follow me on X. You can take it there as well. Do influencers lose credibility when they drop a story, Epstein, at the request of politicians? So we're talking about Laura Ingraham, Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk. I'm sure that there's others as well. 87% of the people out there said yes. 13% said no. And Megyn Kelly, she did a little video yesterday, and she called out those influencers.
You now have some MAGA influencers clearly on direction of the White House saying, okay, I'm done. You had Laura Ingraham go on her show on Fox News on last night being like, oh, well, after there was the pile-on at Charlie Kirk's Turning Point event, where there all this Republican infighting, and then kind of suggested she's moving on from Epstein. Okay, she was part of it. I like Laura, but she 100% stood up there and fanned this flame. But let's not pretend that, some of the president's most loyal advocates aren't very, very interested in Epstein. They are, all right? However, some in the media let their loyalty to the president trump their journalistic obligation.
So, my question is, what is an influencer? Like, is an influencer supposed to just, essentially parrot talking points from the White House, for example? Like in this case, we're talking about, again, Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro and Laura is and I don't know what Sean Hannity's doing, but I don't know what Hannity's a talk show host. So you got influencers, you got journalists, and you've got talk show hosts and
Is
influencers.
Ben
and so
Shapiro
forth.
a influencer? You would say? Is he does basically what Hannity does in a way. He takes
in a way,
news.
Just without the network.
Yeah. He
I
has
think
like a
more of a
podcast.
podcaster.
Yeah, but he talks about news and like him
he
and
does. I don't know if
Matt
he's
Walsh are very similar.
I don't know
in
if he's
that.
a journalist. I don't know if Ben
No.
Shapiro would call himself a journalist.
I don't think he would.
No, but influencer to me is like dancing like an idiot on, you know what I mean, or like, just stupid stuff on the
No,
internet.
they're
Not serious.
No,
Yeah.
there are conservative influencers. There are.
Like I would say Charlie Kirk is an influencer for sure because he goes to universities and influences
He does, and he
conservative
does a
values.
great job.
But so many other people just do stupid stuff to get views. Like that's also an influencer. They're in the same.
Beyond all that, my question is, like, what is their job as an influencer? Because it would be really easy just to, like, get my talking points from the White House every day.
He's just garnering an audience.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. If Trump does something that you don't believe in, and then Trump tells you, well, don't criticize me, and then you stop talking about it, that seems so bizarre to me. Remember, Charlie Kirk decided that he wasn't going to talk about this any longer.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands. But let me just say this again. Everyone knows my opinion about the Epstein thing, and I'm going to trust my friends, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, my friend Pam Bondi, all these guys. I'm going to, Todd Blanche, I'm going to trust them to solve it. Balls in their court.
All right. So, I mean, Megyn Kelly had a great point. Listen to what she said about this, because I'm in Megyn Kelly's camp. Now, maybe that's because I have a background in news. Clearly, so does Megyn Kelly, far beyond what I ever accomplished. But this is what she says.
Charlie says he's going to trust his friends inside the administration. You heard Ben Shapiro say that on this show yesterday. I will state for the record, I have lots of friends inside the administration. I have nothing but respect and admiration for this president, but I am in a different business. I am in the journalism business, and my position is you can trust, but you must verify. And I refuse to be the CNN of Trump 2.0.
Yep.
Where they just trusted the administration on Biden's mental acuity and willingly, by doing so, ignored the biggest crisis and controversy and scandal in modern presidential history.
Now, she does say, she's talking apples and oranges, but the philosophical point remains the same, which is we had all of the people in the media and all of these influencers on the left talking about how Joe Biden was sharp as a tack. And here we were as conservatives criticizing that. And so now, essentially, one could argue that we're doing the same thing as it relates to Epstein. One more comment from Megyn Kelly.
I think non-disclosure and non-transparency is hurting Trump, but I'm also not in the business of protecting Donald Trump. Again, like, that's what the New York Times does for a Democrat. That's not me. That's not any honest journalist. I am not going on some media tour in 4 years with Alex Thompson trying to have to explain how I'm shocked that there wasn't full disclosure under Trump on Epstein. I guess I was just too naive. I believed them. This is humiliating.
I mean, she's got an excellent point. And so I guess the question is, what do you want from your favorite influencer, talk show host, person on Fox News, whatever it is? Do you want them to simply parrot talking points from the White House? Or do you want them to be honest about how they feel about whatever the issue is? I'm a massive Donald Trump supporter. You folks know that I have lost people in my life who I love because of my Donald Trump support. So don't tell me that I'm, betraying Donald Trump. You've got to be true to your values. And for anybody to say, well, Donald Trump told me not to talk about this, and so I'm not going to. Oh my, I can't even imagine how people like that retain any kind of credibility. I mean, Joan, am I off base on this?
I don't think so.
I'm not off base. I know I'm not off base.
I don't think so. I think that was a huge mistake on Charlie's part, and I'm hoping that he's thinking about it,
Yeah.
and he's going to walk that back.
Well, and here's the deal, and I know that for some people, the whole Epstein thing is a deal breaker. This is it for me. Well, it's not a deal breaker for me. I think that he handled this poorly, but they've got other things going on. So, real quickly, the YouTube Daily Dan poll is on this, and KGB, what are people saying about the influencers, and do they lose credibility if they drop a story like Epstein just because politicians ask them to?
89% say yes to 11% no.
89% of the people listening to this show and taking the poll say that, yes, they do lose credibility. It is 5:56, and Joan Jones is got the news at 6. Joan.
Yeah, the FAA says Nashville is way off if it wants full staffing on air traffic controllers. And the death knell for NPR. Looks like it might be a little bit closer now. Stick around for that coming up here at
Does
6.
that mean, Joan, that they're going to start talking even more like this because they're really sad?
It might, Dan.
NPR.
Yes.
We no longer have our funding from the government, and so now we're just really sad.
Well, now they could be really sad and off the air.
Well, you know what? They're going to be the first to tell you, oh, we have other avenues of revenue. Well, then go take advantage of those other avenues of revenue.
And stop making the taxpayer the avenue.
That's exactly right, Joan. All right, got a lot more straight ahead. Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. $5.56, Dan Mandis here for the HVAC company that I've been using for over a decade, Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Now, the thing is, I've always loved their mission to provide great service and save you money. Just like here in the month of July, save big time on Busy Bee's smart Wi-Fi water shutoff valve, only $1,249 this month. You buy a whole new HVAC system, you get a free air duct fogging and UV light home treatment. Plumbing problems, well, they can fix those as well. They've got the answers. $500 off a Halo 5 whole home filtration system, or $1,000 off whole home water and drain line replacements. The savings go on and on. Find them online at busybeehvac.com. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. Financing is available. 615-775-7833.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
Good morning, 6 o'clock. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We're at 77 now. We'll get to 96 and a heat advisory. The heat index going over 100 later today. The Federal Aviation Administration says 17 air traffic controllers are needed to bring Tennessee up to full staffing. Nationally, 3,000 controllers are needed. And now Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn is introducing legislation that would allow the Transportation Secretary to exempt some air traffic controllers from mandatory retirement when they reach 56 years old.
We all know that air traffic control is something that is vitally important to the flying public. This is something that is going to keep your most experienced air traffic controllers in the tower.
Yeah, she's also prompting the FAA to review its so-called Core 30 airports. BNA is not on them, even though it sees more air traffic than 5 of the airports on that list. Modernizing the air traffic control system has been talked about for years. WSMV4's Amanda Hara.
The FAA got more than $12 billion from President Trump's policy bill, and part of the money will help replace aging radar systems.
Yeah, by policy bill, she means the big, beautiful bill. The funding is intended to be a down payment for major changes that could take years to complete. In Washington, Vice President J.D. Vance broke the 50-50 tie on the Senate's first vote to advance a bill that would allow Congress to cancel billions of dollars in approved funding for government programs, including foreign aid and funding for NPR.
Congress hasn't actually passed a rescissions package since the Clinton administration. So what's going on here right now is that Congress, as we all know, approves the funding that the federal government is able to spend every year. So Congress deals with that through these big appropriations bills. And I feel like we talk a lot about this anytime we're getting close to a government shutdown. What Congress is trying to do right now is go back and claw back some of the funding that they've already approved.
ABC's Ali Pecorin on Capitol Hill. Market Numbers Report now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
Consumer prices rose last month by the most in 5 months, up 0.3% compared to May. Goldman Sachs says this pace is likely to keep up over the next few months. That inflation report sent stocks into retreat Tuesday, the Dow Jones losing 1%, 436 points to close barely above 44,000. The S&P gave up 0.4%, but strong earnings from tech firms pushed the Nasdaq to a new record high. Coffee traders are trying to get ahead of a 50% tariff on Brazil that is due to hit August 1st. Companies are now moving to get as much coffee into the country as they can before those import fees take effect. Clear the way for the cooling towers. Westinghouse CEO Dan Sumner told President Trump at an energy roundtable yesterday that he plans to build 10 large nuclear reactors in the U.S., construction to start by 2030. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Right now, Dow futures are plus 17, NASDAQ futures down 40, S&P futures down 2 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Well, I'm seeing some slowdown on 24, the westbound side now as you're approaching Nashville. Looks really good if you're traveling in on 24 with just a minor delay starting that seems like it ends up in the Jolton area this morning. Okay on 65 as you're heading in, and traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:07 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Real quickly, Joan, I don't know if you had this in your news. You probably did, maybe not. Apparently, we all know that Donald Trump has been telling Vladimir Putin, look, you got 50 days.
Oh, yeah.
You got 50 days to figure out how to get along with Ukraine and come to a peace deal. Apparently, Vladimir Putin's response to that was launching hundreds of drones on key regions of Ukraine, including the hometown of one Vladimir Zelensky.
Oh, boy.
So that was Russia's response. And so that's going to be a thing that's going to keep breaking, for the next 50 days. We're going to see where it goes. The other thing, you had a story, and I thought it was interesting. You had a story about air traffic controllers.
Yes.
And about how low on air traffic controllers are we? They want to hire how many here in Nashville?
17.
So I'm just trying to figure out, why is it we have such a hard time finding air traffic controllers? Because they have them in the military. And we know that we found a whole bunch way back when Reagan fired all those air traffic controllers many years ago. Now, I do know that for a lot of air traffic controllers, I actually know someone who used to be an air traffic controller in the military.
Yeah.
He got out of the military and he's like, I don't want to do it. And I'm trying to figure out, because I know the guy.
It's such a stressful job.
It is so stressful.
Yeah.
This dude cannot find a good job to save his life.
And he's still not willing to.
He and I were joking. He would rather work at Walmart. No offense to people who work at Walmart.
Yeah.
He said, I would rather work at Walmart and make whatever people at Walmart make, as opposed to be an air traffic controller and make $80,000 to $100,000 a year.
Yeah.
Because of the stress. So, but is there, I don't even know this, and I probably should have looked it up. Is there like an air traffic controller like school?
Oh,
Is
yes.
this like a trade that you can learn?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. This is, in fact, it's a well-paying career.
Oh, I know it is.
But you really have to be on top of your game.
Well,
now,
yeah.
There is legislation. So, these guys have to retire, these guys and girls have to retire by the age of 56. And Marsha Blackburn's legislation that she's introducing would have them staying on to 61. Hold on.
I know why they want
qualified to work beyond the mandatory retirement age of 61. So in some places it says 56, some say 61. Anyway, these guys have to retire early because of the stress on them.
Yeah, but I would say that the longer somebody does a job, the more accustomed they are to the stress and the better they get.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, I don't. It's fascinating to me why we can't get more people to be air traffic controllers. I would love to do that job. Sadly,
You're an
I'm
old
57.
Guy. Right.
I'm not allowed to.
You're already aged out. There's new incentives. The FAA is offering new incentives. But they're also, they don't hire anyone who's older than 31.
Okay.
So it kind of squashes the limits, on
I mean,
the
it
people
is
that
an
they
important
hire.
job.
Super important.
Air traffic controlling, that is an important and a very stressful job. So hopefully they're able to find the people that that they need. But I got to tell you, they do have a lot of people in the military that if they needed to, they could try to tap some of those folks that are leaving the military and see if they want to come work in the private sector. By the way, real quick, the White House has come out with a really handy thing. It is an interactive map. Now, the big beautiful bill, of course, has been passed, and so now they have come out with an interactive map as far as the savings by state for the big beautiful bill, because we all know the no tax on tips, all the things. Real wage increase for these, and I'm going to go ahead and post this to my ex. Here in the state of Tennessee, real wage increase is going to be $3,400 to $6,100. Now, this is obviously very broad, but you know what? Your wages are going to go up here in the state of Tennessee, according to the White House, $3,400 to $6,100. Real take-home pay increase, $7,000 to $9,900. That is, of course, because of all of the tax breaks and so forth. No tax on tips, share labor force benefit, 4%. Seniors benefiting from no tax on Social Security, 1.2 million, and on it goes. Jobs protected, 139,000, and opportunity zones. You know what the opportunity zones are, Joan?
Oh yeah.
Like if you have maybe it's going to be an area that just needs a lot of improvement. They need opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You open up manufacturing plants, whatever it is, you try to develop this certain area. Opportunity zones and the jobs created there, 24,000. Opportunity zone housing units created, 6,000. So in other words, there's a lot going on with this big, beautiful bill. The media and all the folks there on the left, and I agree that this is costing a lot of money. I am very uncomfortable with how the debt and the deficit, many people say it is going to rise. The Trump administration says, well, with all of the job creation and the churning of the economy.
And all the money that's being brought in by tariffs.
By the tariffs, all of that. I mean, our economy is going to be just fine. I tend to believe, and I'm no economist, but I tend to believe and I tend to trust people like E.J. Antoni and Scott Bessent. I interviewed E.J. Antoni, I think it was on Monday, where he talked about all of this. You can find the podcast at 997WTN.com. So the left keeps harping on, it's, Medicaid and people are going to be dropped off their Medicaid. They're really not, unless they're not supposed to be on Medicaid. That is the whole point. And so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and post that to my ex. Follow me on X at Dan Mandis Show. 615-737-9986 is the super text line. That is open as well. 615-737-WWTN. And I got a lot of people. A lot of people are chiming in about the lack of air traffic controllers. So maybe we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Kay says, my son graduated in May with a degree in aviation. He began applying to be an air traffic controller in November. He is now waiting for orders to go to the FAA school in Oklahoma. She says it is a very long process and a very rigorous process just to do the initial training. After the training, he will have a 2-year internship. So I wonder if there's a way to speed it up, because we need to speed that up.
Well,
if we're 17
do you want to
down,
speed it up?
Well, if there is just a lot of waiting, this is my point. If there's a lot of waiting, well then how can we speed up the process so that people are not waiting for months on end before they can go to the school in Oklahoma? I don't want the training to be sped up. I want, if there's a lot of waiting involved, they can get that process done quicker, and maybe open up more schools.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, being 17 short in Nashville, that is not an ideal situation. So we do need more air traffic controllers. And part of the issue with the air traffic controllers, too, is that they work long hours. There's some overtime involved, too. So they need to figure out a way to recruit them, train them quicker, and make the process quicker, and then be able to keep them as well, and be able to convince those folks coming out of the military to go into air traffic controlling. It is 6:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. I don't think this is pot this down. Just pot it down. That's Shay Harper from the afternoon. Something, Joan, what's happened? Apparently, the rando traffic reporter from Pennsylvania has not recorded her traffic report.
Apparently not. So I'll tell you this. 24 westbound heading into Nashville this morning. Delays are starting back at Smyrna now, so it's pretty heavy, and it's not clear if there's something happening there. Right after the merge between 24 and 65 as you're heading in from the north, that slows down this morning as well. And by the way, you still have some construction spots, the long-term construction at the airport this morning, that continues. Also this morning, it's closed on Old Mount Juliet Road South and East Division Street for road work. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you. 617 Nashville's Morning News. By the way, my buddy Aaron says Air Traffic Control School has been utterly corrupted by DEI. Quite the rabbit hole, she says. Qualified whites have awful. That's actually true. I've covered that. Qualified whites have awful stories. They do.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think, didn't Trump say that he wanted to eliminate all of the rampant DEI that's going on within, the air traffic controller school? It's almost like everything bad in our nation these days can be traced back to, DEI, equity, illegal immigration, the DEI and all that kind of crap going on in our schools today as well. I mean, it goes on and on. By the way, as far as your weather today, high of 95, possible showers as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. All right, I want to get started on some of this audio from Gavin Newsom and Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan, of course, a Franklin treasure. He is, he's a veteran. Sean Ryan is a veteran. He's really smart and he's really in tune on a lot of things. He's got a podcast, and he did have Gavin Newsom and in for his podcast. And there was a lot of conversation about the state of the world today. Here is Gavin Newsom and Sean Ryan, a couple of quick audio bites.
So I'm wondering did you come here to hang out with the 92,000 Californians? Then
you hit me right there, man. The California exit. By the way, complete bullshit. Now, the last 2 years, we've seen significant growth in California's population. So it's reversed and record-breaking tourism. Now the fourth largest economy in the world. We dominate in every major industry.
So kind of, sort of true, but not really. So number one, if you have watched this thing at all, you know that Gavin Newsom, dude's got a potty mouth. I mean, he absolutely has a potty mouth. He used, and listen, I'm not pearl clutching at all, but you would think that a guy who is going to run for president would not use the Lord's name in vain over and over and over again. But that is exactly what he did. And Joan was telling me that Sean Ryan is a very Christian man, a man with a lot of faith. So for Newsom to sit here and use the Lord's name in vain over and over again, I think is disrespectful not only to Sean Ryan, but disrespectful to Christians by and large. But anyway, so when Newsom says that the population has grown there in California, I mean, say it with me, friends. It's all of the illegal aliens and the influx of Joe Biden immigrants. So people like Sean Ryan, Elon Musk, and Joe Rogan and Dan Mandis left California, and California got an influx of people who couldn't speak the language, had very few skills, flown in by Joe Biden or just snuck across the border. As a matter of fact, the reality is that California may lose 3 to 4 congressional seats if these trends continue. And so one of the things, and I said this in the 5 o'clock hour early, but I'm gonna prove this time and again. You're gonna have to get used to deciphering what Gavin Newsom says, because what he likes to do, and that is a perfect example, what he likes to do is he likes to throw a bunch of stuff up against the wall. That's what he likes to do, throw a bunch of stuff up against the wall. All of these supposed facts, and I'm air quoting the word facts, all of these supposed facts, and the reality is that a lot of the things that Gavin Newsom says, they are either out and out lies, they are not really true, they're like half-truths, and they're missing context, or they're cherry-picked things that ignore a far broader picture. That's what Gavin Newsom does. He did that in the interview, the debate that he had with Ron DeSantis, the one that Sean Hannity was moderating. And he did this in Sean Ryan's podcast. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN 621. The Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. That is where 8602 says, don't worry, Christians don't listen to Gavin Newsom. So that is what that person says. Yeah, a lot of hate coming in for Gavin Newsom. The other thing I thought was interesting is he started complaining about how Donald Trump calls him Gavin Newsom.
And it affects his children.
And it affects his children. Okay, so you saw that part?
I did.
Let me play this just very, very quickly. Yeah. This is Gavin Newsom.
Just toughness. It's a weakness masquerading as strength. That's what I don't like about this son of a bitch. I don't. And forgive me, I know he's the president of the United States. Forgive me, I didn't, he calls me new scum. Come on. How do I explain that to my kid? Now I have my kids' friends calling my kids new scum. That I get, because I was called that in 7th grade, but not by a 79-year-old. Model better goddamn behavior, man. Forgive the goddamn.
I you know what I like? I like how he is telling Donald Trump to model better behavior.
Yeah.
As he curses his way through like a 15-second soundbite.
Is he worried about his kid hearing him curse like a drunken sailor?
Great point, Joan Jones. That is a great point. And by the way, I know that a lot of you are screaming at the radio, telling me to say it. Newscum is nothing compared to what the Democrats have called Donald Trump, which is Hitler and, Nazis and all that other kind of stuff. So got a lot more straight ahead from Gavin Newsom on Super Talk 99.7, 623. Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Metro Council votes to expand its business districts last night. Also, a man who attacked ICE agents in Texas is now under arrest. We've got those stories coming up here at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, summer is obviously here. We are in the middle of July, right smack in the middle of July. And my friends at Contours, they can help you slide into that bathing suit and help you feel more comfortable with those now world famous, or at least Nashville famous, belly buster specials from Contours. It is cutting edge, red light technology, and it is incredibly unique and effective as well. Again, it's the Belly Buster special going on right now at Contours. The first 10 callers right now, you get it for $99. 615-236-9960. Contours, it is their July special, red light technology. Now, most people who go through the Belly Buster treatments, they do lose 2 inches across the middle. I did. Chad Benson is going through the process as well. He has as well. We both swear by this Belly Buster special, the red light technology. It is cutting edge. A lot of places use it, but the way that Contours uses it is truly unique and, again, is truly effective. You want to check them out. If you want to see how it all works, find them online. It is contoursllc.com, and right now it is the summer special. It does continue. First 10 callers right now get that Belly Buster special treatment for just $99. 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. ContoursLLC.com. Dan Meadows here for my friends at Stoltzco, a great Tennessee company that does continue to grow and expand. Now, you know by now, because I've been talking about Stoltzco for a long time, that they specialize in pole barns. And these pole barns, they can really be used as anything. They can be a garage, an event space, an equestrian building. You can live in them. We call those barn dominiums. And these barn dominiums from Stoltzco, they are now new and improved. They're offering you right now turnkey options with these barn dominiums. Now, what that means is that they handle the design, the construction, and the amazing finishing touches. You turn the key and you are home thanks to Stoltzco. By the way, they're also now offering storm shelters as well to keep you and your family safe. So check them out online, Stoltzco, Stoltzco.com, 615-622-5992. Again, Stoltzco.com. You can find their handiwork on Instagram and Facebook as well to see examples of their incredible work around Middle Tennessee. Stoltzco.com.
Good morning, now 6:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Metro Council voted last night to expand the business district, even though it would push another tax onto Nashvillians to cover the cost of policing that area and keeping it clean. Public comment on that issue.
I'll take anything. If there's more restaurants or more activities to do around the area, that'd be great.
Drawing in more locals, drawing in more tourists, and drawing in millions of dollars of revenue that gets invested in our core and returns to the rest of the city.
The Business Improvement District will now include the Gulch and Capitol View. A 5-year-old Kentucky boy with autism has been found dead after an alert was issued for him. Silas Cheerer was his name. He was reported as having walked away from his home around 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday, still wearing his pajamas. Police have not said how he died. A man accused of taking part in a coordinated attack at an ICE facility in Texas earlier this month has now been arrested.
According to prosecutors, Benjamin Hanil Song joined 11 others in an ambush against law enforcers at an immigrant detention center on July 4th, the wounding of a local police officer. The other suspects, some carrying assault rifles and wearing tactical gear, were caught that night. Song, a 32-year-old former Marine reservist, was found and arrested Tuesday.
That's ABC's Jim Ryan. And just when you thought being the world's #1 golfer would be the best feeling in the world, Scotty Scheffler is throwing cold water on that notion. The 29-year-old says golf is not the most important thing in the world to him.
I'm blessed to be able to come out here and play golf, but if my golf ever started affecting my home life or it ever affected the relationship I have with my wife or with my son, that's going to be the last day that I play out here for a living because, I would much rather be a great father than I would be a great golfer. That at the end of the day, that's what's more important to me.
Scheffler has won more tournament and majors than any other player over the last 3 years. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Speaking of Jones, 633, Window Nation. Dan Mandis for my friends at Window Nation. Now, this is my window company. They put 4 windows in my home. And if you are thinking about new windows, you've got to check them out today. Now, we all know it's really hot. You need to make sure that cool air stays inside your home and the hot air is staying out. Window Nation can do just that. Now, these are some of the best energy-saving windows that money can buy, and they are installed in a day or less. Their crews at Window Nation, they all have years of experience, and if you want to increase the value of your home, call Window Nation today. They've got a great deal going on right now. Great windows at an even better price. Save 50% off all window styles, and you can save big time with 0% interest for 5 years. That's right, no interest until 2030. This sale is going to end soon. You've got to call Window Nation today, 866-90-NATION, 866-94 Nation, and you can schedule a fast and free estimate now with Window Nation. Don't forget that great deal. Save 50% off all window styles. You can save big time with 0% interest for 5 years until 2030. 866-90-NATION, windownation.com. .635 Nationals Morning News on WTN. Listen, if you are a lake lover, you've got to listen up. Dan Mandis here. Tennessee National Lakefront Resort Golf and Marina Community. They are releasing a brand new phase of lake lots, one day only, on Saturday, July 26th. It is coming up. Cottage packages with boat slips. They are starting from $359.9. An acre-and-a-half lake lot with covered boat slip. That's starting at $99.9. Move-in ready homes with free upgraded outdoor kitchens. They've got those for $30,000 off. As usual, Tennessee National giving you the opportunity to live by the lake at incredible prices. By the way, the amenities are cool as well. Private golf cart access to a new marina and resort. They also have got 10 miles of walking trails. Find them online, TennesseeNational.com. And don't forget, that is Saturday, July 26th. Find them online, TennesseeNational.com. This is 20 minutes outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. 865-408-9992. 865-408-9992. Check them out today.
There is an accident in East Nashville. This one is on Ellington Parkway, the northbound lanes at Broadmoor Drive, and the left lane is blocked off because of it. You still have some delays on 40 westbound before Highway 109. The crash there taking out a left lane as well. And we're seeing delays stacking up now on 24 westbound, starting in the Smyrna area. It's also a little bit slow this morning as you're traveling on 65 and 24 at the merge there. Now that the delays are starting to back up onto 65 and on 24 as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, hello. All right, so talking about Gavin Newsom, just real quick, because I spent the morning trying to sort of fact check this interview that he did with Sean Ryan. By the way, coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, the Tennessean does a bit of a deep dive into why it is that CNBC is saying that Tennessee is, worst place to live, or one of the worst places to live in the country. And so we're going to talk about that coming up in the news at 7 here on Super Talk. You know, I'm just going to tell you right now, I got one word for you: Memphis. It's always Memphis. We'll talk about that coming up. Gavin Newsom and Sean Ryan. So they did this podcast. And the reason why I believe that it is important to try to decipher what Gavin Newsom had to say is because dude is clearly running for president. And so one of the things that he said, I'm going to replay this one soundbite because, again, remember what I said. He throws a lot of stuff out there. He expects you to believe all of the things that he says when the reality is that he's throwing out a lot of BS. Again, this is Gavin Newsom.
So I'm wondering did you come here to hang out with the 92,000 Californians that infiltrated Tennessee?
You hit me right there, man. The California exit. By the way, complete bullshit. Now, the last 2 years, we've seen significant growth in California's population. So it's reversed and record-breaking tourism. Now the fourth largest economy in the world. We dominate in every major industry.
All right. So, again, not to belabor the point, but a lot of that people coming in, they're illegals or they're Joe Biden's migrants, whatever you want to call them. They've lost Sean Ryan, Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, Dan Mandis, and thousands of other people who are well-educated and contributing to the economy. And they have a bunch of folks that have come in and are just living off the system there in California. By the way, you heard him talk about manufacturing and about how things are going great in the state of California. They've actually lost a ton of manufacturing jobs as companies, as you know, have moved to other states. Now, the sheer size of California, it does make sense that it is number one in the nation, but due to high taxes, regulations, the high cost of living, and people simply not wanting to live in the state anymore, California has lost a ton of jobs, a ton of manufacturing jobs, thousands of jobs. They've gone off to places like, Texas and Tennessee and other places. The unemployment rate in California, by the way, is far higher than the national average. You didn't hear Gavin Newsom saying that, did you? Right now, the unemployment rate in California is 5.4%. You know what it is nationally? 4.1%. So please tell us again, Gavin Newsom, how great the job market is there in California. I'm sure that they're doing great on tourism. You know why California's doing great on tourism? Because people like to come in and then leave as quickly as possible.
And so we're really proud of California. And
did you see, by the way, that California's mandated $20 an hour minimum wage caused 18,000 job losses, according to the National Bureau of Research? That just came out yesterday. So,
and so we're really proud of California. And
you can be proud of California all you want. Do you know what part of this is, too? I was listening to all of this, and I started thinking, this is like the Joe Biden Autopen scandal or the Joe Biden cognitive decline scandal. And here's what I mean by that. Don't believe your eyes. Believe what we say about California. For example, we have all seen what is going on in San Francisco and Los Angeles and San Diego related to homelessness and the homeless population taking over the streets. We could also talk about, the violence and so forth. And so there's a lot here. And Gavin Newsom is just out there, talking a bunch of BS. Then they started talking about guns and the murder rates in California. Newsom, of course, makes the claim that California has a dropping gun murder rate.
And there's a correlation there. California is one of the lowest gun death rates in America. The highest murder rates in the country tend to be red states, significantly so. You look at the murder rate, 8 of the top 10 murder rates per capita in the country are all red states.
Well, I thought Chicago was the number one.
No, well, cities, you'll have different experiences.
All right, so Sean Ryan, and it may have been by accident, I'm not sure, but he says, wait a minute, I thought it was Chicago. This is a familiar thing that Gavin Newsom and the Democrats say. Oh, it's all the red states. That's where all the gun murders are happening. Well, perhaps, but all those murders are actually happening in cities that are run by Democrats. I mean, again, not to pick on Memphis, but I will. Think about Memphis. But here's a few other things. California has actually seen a rise in violent crime, period, since Gavin Newsom took office. The data from the FBI does show, by the way, a drop in recent years. But that's all BS, and you know why. Part of what has impacted that drop has been the underreporting of crimes in cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco during the Biden administration after they changed the reporting procedure. Remember all that? Biden changed the reporting procedure, and it was such a pain in the arse that some of these cities were like, screw it, we're not gonna report. And that's why it looks like California's violent crime is dropping. But violent crime overall has absolutely increased significantly since his term began. Retail thefts have skyrocketed because they reduced the penalties for some of those crimes. And by the way, as far as this whole conversation,
murder rates per capita in the country are all red states.
Right. And again, they're driven by the murder rate in Democrat-run cities. By the way, number one, these days, apparently, District of Columbia. But again, all of this is fueled by cities run by Democrats. For example, Tennessee is in the top 10, and that is fueled basically by Memphis. It's always Memphis. So Newsom, you know what's so funny? I didn't even mean to do that. So Newsom has this tendency to throw all of these, and I'm air quoting, facts at you, but they definitely need more actual context. Oh, then the topic turns to COVID. Wait till you hear this. It's all straight ahead on Super Talk 645. Time to check the roads.
Lebanon, 40 westbound before 109. An accident blocks the left lane. East Nashville, Ellington Parkway northbound. A crash at Broadmoor Drive in the left lane. No problems coming in on 24 or 65. No unusual delays on 440. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as your weather today, it is going to be hot, and I mean really hot. A high of 95, possible showers as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. Playing some select cuts from the interview that Sean Ryan, Franklin's own, by the way. I'm a big fan of his. Sean Ryan and Gavin Newsom. It's clear that Gavin Newsom is running for president. The topic turned to COVID, and Joe Rogan sends in a question, asking the question, who will take responsibility for children being forced to take the COVID vaccine that were unnecessary, and who will take responsibility for the myocarditis and the cancers among those kids? And adults too, by the way. So Newsom has this big, long, drawn-out answer. And you know, Rogan, it was a very fair question. The kids were forced to take these COVID vaccines. They were, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, unnecessary. Who will take responsibility for the diseases, the conditions caused by those unnecessary vaccines? And so again, Newsom had this big, long, drawn-out answer that I've tried to unwind here. First of all, he spent a lot of time, and he's very proud, Gavin Newsom is, of this report that is going to be coming out next month of all the things that they did right and wrong in the state of California regarding COVID. So that will be interesting to read. I'm very curious as to who is writing the report, because if there are a bunch of supporters and advocates of Governor Newsom, well, then you know that it is going to be very positive for the governor. But this is what he said.
I mean, Florida shut down their bars and restaurants before California. Before California. The question was, when did we start to unwind some of those restrictions? California was more restrictive, and we were certainly aggressive at scale.
All right. So, again, remember, there's a lot to unwind here, because he's basically telling you half-truths, full falsehoods, and blatant lies. On March 15th, Gavin Newsom called for the closure of bars and restaurants in California. On March 17th, that is when Ron DeSantis did. So that's number one. Number two, it just seems really silly. I feel like we're arguing, and this is, again, another thing that Gavin Newsom does, is he does a lot of just minutia arguing, because it feels like we're arguing over, a couple of days. Because the fact is that Florida opened up a lot sooner than California, allowed those restrictions to expire a lot sooner than California did, of course, and allowed people to live again. And that is a simple fact. California was way more restrictive for a lot longer. And so I feel like this is sort of like a how to say this in a non-vulgar way. I feel like Gavin Newsom is engaged in a one-person peeing match. You know what I'm saying? Like, he keeps going after Florida and Ron DeSantis because DeSantis utterly humiliated Gavin Newsom in that debate with Sean Hannity. So he does. He keeps going after Florida because of, in my opinion, the whole Ron DeSantis thing.
Florida had worse educational outcomes during COVID than California.
Nope.
Kids did worse on reading and math scores. Fact. 3 out of the 4 areas, 4th grade reading and 8th grade reading and math, 3 out of the 4 categories California outperformed. From a health perspective, they had more per capita deaths than California. And from a wealth perspective, their GDP contracted more than the state of California.
So I'm just going to go down the line. Very simple. Education results. He is wrong. Florida reopened earlier, which meant that they have and will have fewer kids with emotional issues. That's number one, and that is a fact. Number two, as far as pure test scores go, you have a lot of different metrics. You have a lot of different testing, who does the testing and so forth. But the bottom line is, there was a Harvard study that shows that Florida absolutely smoked California. Newsom, again, has this tendency to sort of fragment his talking points and not give the entire context. To me, the big takeaway is Florida opened sooner, and that led to the kids there in Florida getting back to a sense of normalcy sooner than kids in California. But we can just look at one metric to prove him a liar.
You know, Florida had worse educational outcomes during COVID than California. Kids did worse on reading and math scores. Fact.
No, it's not a fact. Fourth grade math during COVID. California dropped, and this is again, fourth grade math during COVID. California dropped 5 points. Florida remained flat and outperformed the national average. Fourth grade reading. Both states saw a 3-point decline, but Florida's scores were overall higher than the national average. School closures. Florida, again, opened up far, far earlier than California. Remote learning was an epic disaster, and that did a lot of damage to kids. And in the state of California, of course, they acquiesced to the teachers' union and so forth. And so in California, Gavin Newsom and the Democrats and the school unions sold out the kids in favor of the unions.
And from a wealth perspective, their GDP contracted more than the state of California.
Not true. 2020, GDP decline for California was 2.8%. Florida's, that contraction, was only 1.5%. And so, again, I honestly feel like we're arguing semantics and numbers that can be manipulated 10 different ways, and that is exactly what Gavin Newsom does. Which state saw more COVID deaths? In this instance, he is right. Because, you know what? Per capita, Florida has had a lot of older people at the time. So we did see a lot of the older people die there in Florida. But which state saw more COVID deaths total? Well, that's California because they've got a lot more people in that state. So listen, I could do this all day with Gavin Newsom, try and fact check his boasting based on fragments or lacking of context, half-truths, full lies, you name it. And Gavin Newsom, he is so proud of what they have accomplished in California, which absolutely makes no sense in the world because here in America, what do we all look at when we see California? We see the homelessness in Los Angeles, the violence in Los Angeles, the homelessness in San Francisco. I could go on and on and on. By the way, Adam Carolla has spoken about just this kind of behavior from Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom's a sociopath. I don't think people really fully understand who that guy is and who that guy isn't. I don't know that he knows who he is or what he stands for or what he thinks. He thinks anything anyone wants him to think. He's a roofer, and he goes and looks at a house and it has a 10-foot by 10-foot hole in the middle of the roof. And somebody says, why is all the water pouring in? And he says, it's a multitude of issues and it's nuanced. And you go, there's a 10-foot hole in the roof. And he goes, this is about gutters. It's about fascia. And then you go, there's a 10-foot hole in the roof. And he goes, my grandparents came here with no roof. Or there's a 10-foot hole in the roof. All the water's pouring through it. And he has to talk about everything except for the 10-foot hole in the roof.
I mean, and listen, he is absolutely right. And so here's the deal. We're all going to have to get used to the way that Gavin Newsom debates and throws all of these half-truths out there because he clearly, at least in my opinion, is running for president. 6:55, Joan Jones has the news at 7. Joan.
Wow, you went so fast, Dan.
You know what? That was a long-winded segment,
Yeah.
and I felt like I had to really just hurry up the final 5 seconds. I'm sure it made all the difference in the world.
Sure. Yeah. A heat advisory for today and tomorrow. We've got your forecast coming up, tell you what to expect. Also, the TVA has backed off its plans for a natural gas plant in Cheatham County. That story and more coming up here at 7 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here at 6:56. You know, if you've got a bathtub that needs a lot of work like mine does, you've got to call my friends at Zentex. Now, listen, they've been in business since 2001, and yeah, they are here to help. They can remodel your shower. They can remodel your bathtub. They can even convert your bathtub into a walk-in shower. Now, these types of home improvements, they can increase the value of your home, and Zintex can have it wrapped up in a day. Now, this is an award-winning company that offers limited lifetime warranties for both their products and installation. Now, you can make your bathroom safer with a walk-in shower complete with grab bars and a bench seat. This is a great way to help the older folks in your life who need that assist and support. So fix, remodel, or convert your tub into a shower today with Zintex. Now, that phone number, 629-258-7747, a great deal right now. You mentioned WTN, you get $1,750 off or no interest for 24 months, whichever works best for you, and no payments for 2 years. 629-258-7747, Zintex, Zintex.com.
East Nashville, Ellington Parkway northbound at Broadmoor Drive, an accident's been moved to the right shoulder. No problems coming in on 65 or 24. No unusual delays on 40 or 440. 840 running accident free. I'm Christy O'Brien.
It's coming up on 7 o'clock, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Coming up next, going to have our weekly chat with one Brian Wilson. It's all straight ahead on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning, 7 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We do have a heat advisory in effect for today. Temps will rise into the 90s, but the heat index will be between 100 and 105 today. Stefano has the forecast right after the news. Score one for the little guy. The Tennessee Valley Authority has given up its plans for a methane plant at the Lockertsville Road site in Cheatham County. Country music star John Rich celebrating that announcement.
Hundreds of homes are going to be saved, thousands of acres of farmland, century-old farms. TVA has tucked their tail and they are running. And
And of course, he had been helping in that effort. He had also called on President Trump, he said, to stop the plant building just before the big announcement. The TVA says it is now considering another nearby industrial park. Yet another crash involving a pedestrian, this time in Clarksville. A woman was struck last night in the southbound lanes of Fort Campbell Boulevard near Leland Drive. News 2's Peyton Kennedy.
This woman was flown to Nashville in a life flight helicopter. Police say her condition is not known at this time, but fatal crash investigators were called to the scene.
It's not known if the driver stopped in this case. We're hoping to learn more about this today. The Jeffrey Epstein issue is not going away. House Speaker Mike Johnson calling now for more transparency from the Department of Justice. He spoke to podcaster Benny Johnson.
Reagan used to tell us we should trust the American people. I believe in that principle. I know President Trump does as well, and I trust him. I mean, he put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it.
And the drumbeat for the release of the documents is growing louder.
At least one Republican is demanding answers despite pushback from his own party. Congressman Thomas Massie introducing a petition in the House overnight aiming to force a vote to release the files in full.
ABC's Perry Russum there. Russia has rejected President Trump's ultimatum for Moscow to sign a ceasefire deal that would end the war with Ukraine within 50 days. Russia's deputy foreign minister said yesterday, quote, any attempts to make demands, especially ultimatums, are not acceptable to us. ABC's Ian Pannell in Ukraine last night.
More weapon systems now to be given to NATO to help Ukraine, and the clock started running on this 50-day deadline for Russia to agree to a peace deal. But for Ukrainians, 50 days is too long. It means more bombing, and the Kremlin's response has already been heard. More attacks tonight.
Market Numbers Report now brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. We've got stock futures mixed right now. The Dow futures are plus 84 points, but the NASDAQ futures are down 42, and the S&P futures also in the minus column by 2 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
How would you like to have Jesus Christ pray for you? Did you know that Jesus Christ does pray for you if you're a Christian? Hebrews 7:25 says, therefore he is able also to save forever those who draw near to God through him, since he always lives to make intercession for them. In Scripture, intercession means to pray on behalf of. Jesus Christ is your advocate. An advocate comes to our aid or pleads our case to a judge, offering support and counsel and interceding for us when necessary. In other verses, Jesus calls the Holy Spirit our advocate. Just like you talk to yourself, when Jesus talks to himself, it's prayer. The Bible says no matter what you go through today, next week, or next year, Jesus is praying for you if you have trusted him as your Savior. He's on your side.
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
Got a crash involving some injuries. Bell Mead, it's on Harding Pike at Woodmont Boulevard. Also this morning in Music Valley Village, McGavick Pike at Briley Parkway. There's the scene of a crash as well. And another one in East Nashville, Ellington Parkway northbound at Broadmoor Drive. This is a one-car crash, and it's blocking off the right shoulder. Very slow this morning on 24, making your way into Nashville. And even 40 is backed up this morning. Let's see, it's backed up to the area around Mount Juliet, all the way into Nashville. Goodlettsville, you've got the delays on 65 this morning, and on 24 eastbound side, the delays start before Joelton and all the way into the merge with 65. Traffic every 10 minutes, every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.707 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you joining us here for your Wednesday. It is July 16th. Let's welcome on into the program Brian Wilson, as we do every Wednesday at this time. Brian, always great to have you on. Brian, I do a Daily Dan poll, as you know. And today's poll, do influencers lose credibility when they drop a story like Epstein at the request of politicians? Clearly, that is something that is going on. You've got Charlie Kirk, you've got Ben Shapiro, you've got Laura Ingraham, a host on obviously Fox News, and they've all decided to just drop the Epstein story at the behest of the Trump administration. And so it is my contention that when you do that, you lose all credibility. And if you look at my poll on X or the poll on the YouTube feed, basically, this is not an 80-20 issue, Brian. It is a 90-10 issue that the vast majority of people say absolutely those influencers lose credibility when you drop a story at the behest of any politician. So I know that you've been watching the whole Epstein thing. What do you got on this?
Well, on Epstein, I'm of two minds here. The first thing is, does Trump have some liability here? Is there something in the files that will damage Trump? Now, Trump knew Epstein. They ran in the same circles for a while. The story has always been from Trump that he did not like the way Epstein operated his business. He did not like what he saw about Epstein and young girls, and he ended his relationship, and that they were no longer on speaking terms for a very long time. But so there was a relationship there at one point that soured, is the story we get from the Trump people. And so the question that I have is, if there's something damaging in some of these files, why in the hell wouldn't the Biden administration have used it? I mean, that's the one question that keeps coming to my mind. They had the same files. And if there was something damaging, they were looking for stuff to damage Trump. They threw everything they had at him. Why would they have not gone with something in that file, except to say that maybe there was somebody on their side that was going to get hurt as well? Who knows? But the bottom line is that's one thing that is always sort of like, well, if there was some there, they would have tried to find a way to use it, and they haven't. That said, Republicans are winning big time, except on this issue. And the American people want to know what's in that file. And I think that at this point, they've got no other choice but to release it and let the chips fall where they may. Whatever's in there is in there. But the question is, will anybody believe it now?
Yeah.
Are we getting the entire file? How would you know? There's no way to know that for sure. But so I've got that. And then the other thing that comes to my mind about this is, if you're winning and you're winning and you're winning, and then all of a sudden there's this one issue, the Democrats think there's something there and they're trying to push it hard. And it's the one thing that gives the Democrats credibility right now. We're building them up on this particular issue. If they're saying they want it released and we don't want it released, they are now on the 90% side of that issue, which to me is giving them, a great opportunity to sort of change the narrative, because the narrative right now, Trump is winning, Trump is winning, Trump is winning. We got to do something to derail Trump. Is this it? It'll be interesting to see how it all goes. I also am of the opinion that people's expectations are probably too high.
Oh, this thing has been played up for years. It's been played up.
Well, and somebody came up with, there's a client list. Well, who said there was a client list?
Right.
Is there something? I think that became pop culture. Oh, there's a client list. There's a client list. Well, was there really a client list? I'm not convinced there was. I'm sure there are names in the files that could be damaging, but an actual client list, I'm not sure that you're going to find that. And I think that the expectations that people have are too high. However, at this point, they've just got to go ahead and release the whole dadgum thing and let the chips fall where they may, or they're going to give Democrats a huge leg up.
Yep. Alan Dershowitz, by the way, came out and said there is no list. There's a bunch of accusers and the accusations. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, and I think you're right. And I think the big problem with this, and then we're going to move on, but the big problem with this is that Donald Trump brought in an FBI director, a deputy director of the FBI, and an attorney general who, as you and I have spoken about before, for years they peddled the whole Epstein thing. So this is what you get. And then you bring them in, and then all of a sudden, well, there's no list. I mean, it's just, it boggles my mind as to how badly this whole thing has been executed. They could have just said, you know what? We can't find anything. If there was anything here, it's been scrubbed. You know what I mean? That's, at least to me, they should have said that, as opposed to just, well, there's nothing here. And by the way, Epstein committed suicide. It's just like, it completely destroyed their credibility. Brian,
and now Trump's position is, well, Bondi should release anything that she deems credible.
Which means, to me, that means nothing.
Which means nothing to me. I mean, that just means there's going to be another assessment of the documents and another pairing of the documents. And I don't think ultimately at this point, it's getting to the point where no matter what they do, I don't think there's going to be a great deal of belief that we've seen it all.
No, I don't think so either.
It's a real conundrum for them, and I don't know how they're going to resolve it. But to me, at this point, just let the chips fall away. I do hear that there's an independent review going on, and I'd like to know more about that. Who's doing that independent review?
Yeah, yep. You mentioned that Donald Trump is winning.
Yeah,
I would agree with you. There's a lot of great things that the president has done.
If they don't blow it with the Epstein thing, yeah.
Exactly. CNN, it's on in the studio, and so they're talking about new polling that shows that Donald Trump is not popular, and the big beautiful bill is unpopular as well. There's a lot of doom selling on CNN related to Donald Trump. Brian, I'm going to ask you about that straight ahead, because I think that the doom selling on CNN is just that. They're trying to sell it when in reality, there's a lot of good things on the big, beautiful bill. Going to talk about that straight ahead with Brian Wilson. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather today, really, really, really hot. High of 95. I'm willing to bet that Brian Wilson is going to be in his pool today with the pink flamingos.
Are they floaties? The pink flamingo floaties?
Not only are they floaties, they have solar lights in them, and they light up pink at night. They're beautiful.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, Brian and his pink flamingos caused a big international incident in Florida. We'll get into that another time. So, Brian, real quickly, so what do you think about the polling that shows that the big, beautiful bill is, in the eyes of many, not so beautiful?
Well, it'll be interesting. I think there's a lot of good in the bill. Is it perfect bill? No, it's not a perfect bill. There's never been a perfect bill. Nobody's completely happy with everything, but I think there's a lot of good there. And I think that that when you start to see the things that are in the big, beautiful bill start to come into implementation, that it will again serve to sort of supercharge this economy. Now, we saw inflation tick up just a notch And a lot of people are very quick. You talk about your people over at San to jump in. Oh, see, here it is, and now we're finally seeing the effects of the tariffs, and it's 2.7%. If you can keep inflation at 3% for a year, that's considered pretty good. And so yes, it went up a hair. I'm not worried about it. I think that the things that are in the big, beautiful bill are going to start, paying off dividends for the Trump administration. And we're going to be seeing a lot of real growth in a real quick hurry. I think it's a good thing. I think the American people are confused because, there were a lot of people out there, even on our side, who didn't really want to vote for the thing. And I think that's where that's coming from.
Do you think that once people start seeing more money in their paycheck, because I think people are going to be like, oh, okay, I guess I do like this thing.
Yeah, I mean, the things that we loved about the Trump administration the first time and the first go-around was the economy, and he's rebuilding the thing in remarkable speed. And he is right to say that I was correct and a lot of the economists were wrong, because that has proved to be true. He has been correct, and a lot of the economists have been dead wrong. I'm willing to give him a little more time and a little more leeway on all this stuff, but I mean, I like where things are going. My only fear, and it's the big story, is all of the good that is being done that would win favor for the midterm elections being damaged by their position on these Epstein files. Is that going to turn the worm, as they say?
I think what may happen with the Epstein thing is that the people that were like one-time voters may just decide, well, Trump is as corrupt as the rest of them, and I'm not going to vote again, which could make an impact.
Of course, you're not going to vote for Trump again. They joke about it, but they're not going to try that. I mean, it looks like to me, J.D. Vance is unharmed in all of this, and he's the leading contender for Republicans going forward, the way it looks right now, with other people like Marco Rubio clearly, making some moves within the administration and catching people's attention. Trump likes him.
Oh yeah,
a lot. Yep. And so there's some good people out there, and on the other side of the equation, just to show you how dumb they are, the Democrats are saying that the number one candidate to run in the next presidential election on their side would be Kamala Harris. I mean, right now the people are putting their eggs in the Kamala basket. Mm-hmm. So, they haven't learned anything either.
Did you see the interview, real quick? I've been playing some audio bites from it. The interview with Gavin Newsom and Sean Ryan.
I did not.
I played some audio from it from earlier, and basically in that segment, what I was trying to bring home is that Gavin Newsom, if you listen, and you remember this from the Ron DeSantis Gavin Newsom debate on Fox News with Sean Hannity monitoring, where Newsom will just throw a bunch of things at you, a bunch of facts at you about how great California is doing, but they're lacking in context, they're half-truths, or they are blatant lies. And so you have to have the patience to be able to sort of dismantle a lot of the things that he says, because they are woefully out of context. I mean, just one, Brian, he said that, because the narrative is that people are moving away from California. And he says, well, no, our population is up over the last 2 years.
Well, yeah, why is it up? Because so many illegal aliens moved in there.
Illegal aliens, or the people that, Joe Biden flew into the country, call them illegal, call them whatever you want to call them. But, as I said during the monologue, okay, Gavin Newsom, so over the past few years, you have lost Sean Ryan, you've lost Elon Musk, you've lost, Dan Mandis and Joe Rogan, but you've got, a bunch of people sneaking into our country.
And the only good thing about California is In-N-Out burgers, and we're getting our own, so we don't need to go there for that.
That's exactly right, Brian. Are you as excited as I am about In-N-Out?
I am. I keep driving by and waiting for the day that Dan Mandis actually buys me lunch.
You know what? I will buy you lunch at In-N-Out. Absolutely. All right, we are almost done. with this. You want to talk about real quick the dismantling of the education department?
Yeah, listen, I think the Supreme Court has given them the go-ahead to do this, and look, it is, I think, within the purview of the executive branch to decide which departments are going to exist and which ones are not going to exist. But I mean, can anybody really look at the education department and say, which is not that old actually, and look at it and say, it's been a success. It's been a raging success. American kids are better educated than they've ever been. No, you can't say that because it's simply not true. We spend more money. We don't get good education for our kids. It's insane to keep trying to do the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome. And I think it's right to dismantle this thing. And man, the left is going to lose its mind. The school unions, teacher unions, are going to be very, very upset, and they're going to make a lot of noise. Parents are going to be, worried about that because what do they care about more than anything? Their kids and their school and their education. So it's got to be, and not without political peril, but I think it's absolutely the right thing to do so we can take that money, give it directly to the states, and let the states make, hopefully, better decisions than the Fed has.
All right, Brian Wilson, always great to have you on. Brought to you, by the way, by the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Brian, again, always great to have you on. We'll talk to you this time next week. Go have fun with the pink flamingos.
All right, I will. See you later, Dano.
All right, 7:22. By the way, John says, Joan, on the super text line, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, where are you guys coming from? Are you kidding me? He says. Are you not capable of critical thinking? Most voters like yourselves, you talk like the listeners are idiots and emotional wrecks. Give me a break. Now, I don't exactly know what the heck John is trying to say.
Wow.
But I'm going to open up the phone lines. 615-737-9986. 615-737-WWTN. I don't want to do open phones, but if you want to talk about Epstein, if you want to yell at me and you don't think that I'm capable of critical thinking, that's fine. But I just want to know, where are you at right now with either it's Donald Trump, or are you, supportive of the Epstein thing? Are you still supporting Donald Trump? If you want to throw down a little conversation regarding my opinion on influencers, where, listen, if they're taking direction from the Trump administration, then do they have any credibility at all? I say no. But the phone lines are now open. 615-737-9986. Joan Jones is in the WTN newsroom. Joan, what's coming up?
A Tennessee death row inmate is asking for a special accommodation before he's put to death. Also, will the Maryland man become a Maryland man again? It's up to a judge, and we should learn that today. All of that and more coming up here at 7:30.
I wish he'd just become like Alligator Island man.
Ooh,
Alligator Alcatraz man. Can we do that? Or maybe El Salvador man?
Well, I think it won't be El Salvador, but it would be a third country that they would send him off to.
Well, let's hope that they do that.
Yeah, so we'll learn about that today, and that story's coming up here at 7:30.
All right, 7:23 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and right now they've got a great deal going on. The July special, $12 for a comprehensive exam, x-rays if you need them, a well-explained diagnosis as well, and your first treatment for just $12 here in the month of July. Now, you know the Wellness Institute of Nashville, they can help you with your chronic back, neck, and knee pain. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, they are in the trenches fighting for you to help you win the battle against pain. No surgery, no spinal injections, and no painkillers. No, they can help you. And this is a great therapy that they've got, spinal decompression therapy, non-surgical spinal decompression therapy. They can help you, 615-246-5009, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.
Jesus came to earth the first time to save the world. The next time he comes will be to condemn the world and those who have refused to accept him as their Lord and Savior. Christians are co-heirs with Christ and possess full rights as sons and inherit salvation, eternal life, the earth, the kingdom of God, and all things. If you're not a Christian and have wondered about eternal life, God may be drawing you. Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, for only God can save you.
No matter what I've ever done.
No matter what I've ever done.
No matter what you've ever done.
But what about?
No matter what you've ever done.
Even if?
You are no longer condemned, no matter what you have ever done. Non-cancelable, guaranteed reservation in heaven when you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Learn how now.
$7:27, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I look in the other room, Joan, and Sam and KGB are both laughing.
Oh.
They're looking at me and they're laughing.
Aren't you used to that, though?
And so we got a full phone line, and KGB says, everybody wants to talk about Epstein, and they're going to be really critical of you. Awesome. I cannot wait.
Why would they be critical of you?
I don't know. Why would people be critical of me? Because I'm talking about it?
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, like one guy, John, says I'm not a critical thinker. So,
Wow. Yeah.
Listen, if I was not a critical thinker, I wouldn't be, talking about, Epstein, despite the fact that people don't want me talking about Epstein. This audience, Joan, is so incredibly divided on whether or not we should even be talking about this. So, anyway. Yeah. I'll batten down the hatches and start taking your calls here in a little bit. Loan Pronto. Listen, if you are maxed out on credit cards, if you're struggling with high interest debt, you can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Dan Mandis here indeed, and you can get cash out right now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, and no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto, it is amazing. Instant approvals, low rates, and no hard credit pull up front. That is Loan Pronto. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, they renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That is a huge turnaround. Call them today. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-499-5780. 615-499-5780. Call them now and start the conversation. Get debt relief right now at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Good morning, 7:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. An hours-long barricade situation in Smyrna yesterday after a man entered the Legacy Wine and Spirit store on Lee Victory Parkway and began throwing bottles of alcohol and firing his gun.
All 4 people who were inside, 3 employees and 1 customer, made it out without being injured.
And we start route to Legacy Wine and Spirit.
Police showed up soon after.
He should be right inside the front door. The automatic door keeps opening and closing.
Beginning what became a 4-hour standoff as the man barricaded himself inside the store.
Suspect's walking around inside that storeroom just inside the back door. He does have the firearm in his right hand and a cell phone in his left hand.
The incident shut down roads surrounding the store for hours.
WSMV4's Courtney Allen there. The man eventually walked out of the store and went to the ground immediately. He was arrested. He was also not identified. We're expecting a ruling today after a Tennessee death row inmate asked for a special accommodation when he is put to death. Byron Black has been on death row for decades for the killing of his girlfriend and her 2 little girls in Nashville in the 1980s. WSMV4's Alexandria Adams.
His attorneys are now asking that judge to have his implanted defibrillator turned off in that execution. Now, they say if it stays active, it could potentially keep shocking his heart, leading to a long and painful death.
Black is set to be executed August 5th. In a Maryland courtroom today, a federal judge is expected to rule on whether Kilmar Abrego Garcia should remain in ICE custody or be returned to Maryland. He's in a Tennessee jail now, awaiting his trial on human smuggling, and if released to return to Maryland, ICE would likely take custody and deport him to a third country. Well, last week, the judge in that case signaled she may protect Abrego Garcia from ICE deportation. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 7:32. Dan Mandis here. Guys, if you are over 40 and you're running low on energy, maybe you're just feeling off. LowTCenter.com is where you need to go and get started with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, and join lots of guys who are going through the same thing as you. I know they've got clinics all over Nashville, Low T Center, and they're really easy to get to. You walk in, you see a real medical provider, and you get that energy back. No complicated process, just results. And remember, these treatment plans are tailor-made just for you. Now, you can get treatments at the clinic or you can be treated at home. But either way, you're always going to get the highest quality of care. And right now, in the month of July, you can get a free consultation. And if you qualify, treatment is covered by most major medical insurance. So reclaim that energy and become you again. By the way, they can also help with prescription weight loss options as well. So head on over right now to lowtcenter.com and book your appointment today. That is lowtcenter.com. Simple, quick, and totally worth it. $7:34, Dan Mandis here. You know, I visited the Clayton Homes Dixon showroom the other day. Amazing homes for great prices, and even better these days because Clayton Homes, they are in the middle of their Sign and Save sales event. You can save $2,500 on a single section or $5,000 on a multi-section home, courtesy of Clayton Homes. You walk into these homes, because I did a whole tour, and you walk into these homes and they do look luxurious, complete with energy-smart appliances and great floor plans as well. All kinds of different price points. These manufactured homes have come a long way over the years. Now, Clayton Homes, they can also help you find a plot of land and get it ready to live on. They really are, simply put, a one-stop shop for you. Now, don't forget, you can save thousands of dollars right now with the Sign and Save sales event. $2,500 on a single section or $5,000 on a multi-section home. Check them out for yourself at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. That's manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through August 31st. Amount of savings may be limited. As for details, may not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
McGavock Pike at Briley Parkway. Watch there for a crash that's causing some delays this morning. Belle Meade, Harding Pike near Woodmont Boulevard. You've got a crash involving injuries. And Paragon Mills, Harding Place near Nolansville Pike. That is the scene of another crash this morning. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.737 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I've opened up the phone lines. Joan, I may have opening up the phone lines regret. We'll see.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. These guys say that people are going to yell at me.
Pandora's box.
So we'll see how this goes. I've got my armor on, and let's see what Joe has to say on line 1 in Clarksville on WTN. Hey, Joe, thanks for calling in. Joe.
Jeremiah.
Oh, Jeremiah. They're bad. Go ahead, Joe. Jeremiah. Thanks for calling in.
Good morning. Listen, I love y'all's show. Y'all are unbiased and you're not poisoned by favoritism, and that goes a long way. Reason I'm calling is this Epstein thing does not surprise me, and the reason I say that, it's been at least 20 years since Barbara Walters and Hugh Downs did a 2020 special about doctors, lawyers, and politicians that were going to Bangkok having sex with 9 and 10-year-old little girls, and they even videotaped them and then confronted them with the video. So wealthy people, the caviar for wealthy people are minors that they can have sex with. So this Epstein thing, Trump and the rest of them are trying to hide it because a whole lot of very wealthy, rich people, doctors, lawyers, and politicians are involved in it, and it makes me sick to my stomach. They're just a bunch of damn child molesters, man.
So, Jeremiah, let me ask you a question. What do you want to see happen right now with the Epstein files, the list, whatever you want to call it? Do you want Trump to have that released?
I would love to see the truth brought to the light, and those who are guilty of doing that have to answer for it, man. It just seems like our country, the majority of people have lost all sense of morality, man. It's like anything goes anymore. And, man, that's the reason a lot of people are so twisted in their heads with the lack of sexual morality. Hell, if anything goes anymore. I'd like to see them exposed and have to answer for it. I don't care if they're Republicans, Democrats, Independents, whatever they are, man. They got to answer for it. Man, there ain't nothing worse in life you can do than play with a minor whose mind is not even fully developed yet, but you want to get your rocks off because they're kids that you think you can get away with doing that crap to, man. Yeah, I'd like to see them exposed and have to answer for it. That's what I'd like to see.
All right, Jeremiah, thank you very much. And by the way, there a lot of names have already, and I don't have the list in front of me, but a lot of names have already been exposed, as Jeremiah would say. So I think one of the big questions is, and I played the audio from Alan Dershowitz the other day, where he said a lot of these names have already been put out there. That's number one. And number two, what is in the list is just, some accusers who are accusing, these men of doing these reprehensible things. And by the way, I'm right there with you, Jeremiah, but this segment is not about me, friends. It's about you. So let's say hello to Sean in Lebanon on WTN. Hey, Sean.
Hey, Dan. How you doing, bud?
I'm good. Go ahead, sir.
So talking about, excuse me, the Dan poll this morning, first of all, I think the problem I have with it is we make an assumption that we're giving these influencers credibility in the first place.
Yeah, no, you're right.
The majority of these influencers are like the old adage, opinions are like a certain body part. Everybody's got one.
Yes.
And it just, Sean Ryan, when he talks about military stuff, absolutely. But, the influencers, I don't give them a moment's thought anyways. When it comes to the Epstein case, I do think, and you and I have talked about it at some of the functions that we've seen each other at, the conservative side of the Republican Party, we hold ourselves typically to task as opposed to the Democrats. And I really think that they're screwing the pooch on this one, that, when they got in January, by the end of February, there should have been something either confirmed or denied, or like you said, hey, you know what, we thought there was a client list, there isn't, or it's been scrubbed, or we can't find anything. It should not be mid-July and we're still talking about this.
Well, you're right, Sean, and you're right on a number of different things. And part of it, and I appreciate the call, Sean. By the way, 615-737-9986. Phone lines are open. Remember why people voted for Donald Trump anyway. There's a lot of reasons why we voted for Donald Trump. But one of the reasons why we voted for Trump is because he was running against one of the ultimate swamp dwellers, Hillary Clinton. And we're coming off of Barack Obama, and he as well. And certainly as it's turned out here in the past several months, we find out even more about what Barack Obama did to try to torpedo Donald Trump. So the reason why we voted for Trump was because we were so tired of the swamp. We were so tired of people like the Clintons and John Brennan and, all of these other people that were out there. And Donald Trump was all about draining the swamp. And so it was that brutal honesty. That's why we voted. And that's why we supported Donald Trump. And now it feels like that the president is moving away from that, because it does feel like a cover-up. It just does. And again, just so you know where I'm at, I am all about exposing whatever is out there, because it does need to be exposed and there does need to be justice. This isn't a deal breaker for me, friends. I'm not somebody that's saying, I'll never vote for, well, Donald Trump's not up for re-election, but I'll never vote for Republicans again. And it's sort of like what I spoke about with Matthew Hurt the other day, where you've got J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, and they need to become sort of insulated from all of this, because one of those two more than likely will be running for president in 2028. Let's see what Brian has to say in Lawrenceburg on WTN. Hey, Brian, thanks for calling in.
Well, hey, real quickly, I'm in the parking lot of my work, and I got to get going here, but I'm going to say this to you, Dan. You let me ask you, you still believe in Trump, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm all for releasing the thing, but what you're saying about, you think that he's strong in favor, getting away from draining the swamp, I kind of disagree with you on that. I think that he's doing more to help us out and draining the swamp. Mm-hmm. But we got to give him some time. He's got a team of people that know what they're doing, and we just need to give him some time. I mean, we may not like it, but we just need to give him some time. I know this is July, we're talking about it, but there's a lot more important issues like the Texas flood, the immigration and all that. I just think we need to be patient with Trump and let him do his thing.
All right. Thank you very much for calling, and I appreciate the fact that you're holding on in the parking lot of your work. And good responses by all. Got some more of your calls straight ahead at 615-737-9986. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather today, it's going to be a high of 95, possible showers as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. I'm taking calls right now, And I love taking phone calls, by the way, and I really do. And I'm asking, basically, it was sort of like, I don't know, Joan, how would you even describe my solicitation for calls? It was basically, if you want to talk about anything, go ahead and call. The phone lines are open. And I actually did that by design because everybody keeps telling me nobody cares about Epstein. Nobody cares about Epstein. Every single call
is about Epstein.
Well, you did say if you want to talk about Epstein, that was your first one.
Or anything else related to Trump and the whole thing. So this is Brad in Nashville on WTN. Hey, Brad, go ahead.
Hey, Dan. Yeah, love the show every morning. Love you guys.
Thank you.
But if you go and look at who was on Trump and Melania's list whenever they got married, Hillary was there, her and Bill. And, we heard all through 16, lock her up. She never got locked up. And I think he has a whole bunch of I still like Trump, love what he's doing for the country. But I think there's a whole bunch of cronies on there that he's friends with or that was probably at his wedding that are probably on that list, if there's even a list possible, because if you have a list, then that creates larger problems. I just don't like it.
So, but Brad, is this a deal breaker for you with MAGA, the MAGA movement?
No, it's not a deal breaker for me, but it was something that I thought in the beginning. Whenever he was saying lock her up, I think it's the same situation.
Yeah.
He spent, a whole year saying lock her up, crooked Hillary, and nothing happened there. I think this is another situation. Nothing's going to happen. I think there's not something on him, but something on people he knows. And he's just not going to let it get out.
All right, Brad, appreciate the call. Thank you very much. This is, let's see here. We got Jody on line 5 on WTN. Hey, Jody, go ahead.
Hi, Dan. Can you hear me?
I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to say two things. First of all, I'm worried about re-victimizing these girls each and every time we release their names and put it out in the press and all of the things. I don't think that it's necessary to go over all of these things time and time and time again, because it does bring their names back into the press and it does re-victimize every time. And the other point that I'd like to make is I just think there's a bunch of people looking for a salacious story. It's already been tried in the courts. Epstein is dead now. Guillen is in jail. Why bother putting her in front of Congress? She's already testified. She's not going to say anything more than she already has. I just think they're looking for a salacious story and trying to dig into some things and distract from the important things we need to do.
All right, Jody, great comments, and thank you very much for your call. Ghislaine Maxwell. So the family is now saying, and this was in the Daily Mail this morning, that she feels like she did not get a fair trial. That's number one. Number two, she wants to come in. She wants to testify in front of Congress. Now, the Republicans want her to come in. I should say the Democrats want her to come in and testify in front of Congress, because ultimately that is going to fan the flames of what is going on within the Republican Party, the divide within MAGA on this whole thing. So there's been a couple of little updates today, but, by and large, at least for me, the more that we talk about this, the more that I hear Alan Dershowitz, the more that I hear some of the other people that are really mired into this whole thing, the more that I do believe that this stuff does need to come out. I agree with you, by the way, on these folks being re-victimized. What I don't know, and Joan, maybe you know, we know we know that one of the victims was named, of course, because she was very out front and vocal on that. Yeah. Do we know? I know that there's some girls that were, now women, obviously, that were actually interviewed as part of this whole process, and they granted interviews, but I'm not sure how they would feel about all of this stuff being released, because perhaps you could say that the men that did them wrong would finally be held accountable.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, but Jody brings up a great point. I gotta get through these calls. Mark is in Mount Juliet on WTN. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Dan. First of all, love your show. Think you do a great job.
Thank you.
Strong conservative, strong Trump supporter. Brad hit the nail on the head on that earlier. It's just a basic frustration that nobody that deserves going to jail, going to prison, goes there. Trump campaigned the first time around on putting Hillary in prison, and all of a sudden he got in office, and we'll just kind of let that go. And because Kash Patel and the others had played up this Epstein thing, they brought this all on themselves. And people are just tired of these investigations go on. Fauci will never end up in prison. All these investigations go on and nobody goes in prison. And then on top of that, you add in all the preemptive pardons, the tactic they're using now.
Yep.
And it just really frustrates people.
And I believe that people are frustrated, and I think we're definitely seeing that with this epic battle within the MAGA movement. And I appreciate the call. This is Valerie in Murfreesboro on WTN. Hey, Valerie.
Hey, Dan. I had a question. You played an audio clip from Alan Dershowitz the other day, and he mentioned that he had seen the files and names, but he also mentioned, if I'm correct, that a judge would not allow information to be released because of the victim. So I'm just curious if that's the case, if that's why the information can't be released, why doesn't the administration just say that? It seems like everybody's upset that the information is not being released, but if Alan is correct, names can't be released.
That's what I don't see. You bring up a great point, because I don't understand that either. If the judges, according to Dershowitz, and he's a great legal mind, obviously, then if there's a couple of judges that are blocking the release, well, then why don't you just say that? And then you can have, perhaps the Department of Justice work with these judges and figure something out. But one way or another, I believe that one way or another, whether it is these judges or whether it is the Department of Justice, I do believe that the people want to know who is on this list. And Valerie, as a woman, what are your thoughts on this?
No, I agree. I think it should be. But I think as far as it seems to me right now, there's a lot of blame on Trump as if he's at fault. But I think if it's based on a judge, that not gives him cover, but it's not like it's his decision not to release the information. But yes, I agree with the previous callers that any minors being violated and taken advantage of, these people need to be brought to justice. Whether or not it will happen, I don't know. But it doesn't diminish what Trump has done and continues to do for the country.
And you are absolutely right. It does not diminish what Donald Trump has done for the country. And I'm trying to find that Alan Dershowitz. Are my audio up, guys? My audio's up. Let's see here. But let me see if this is the audio bite Valerie's talking about.
So many of the things that are being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan, and they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers who are, in the view of the judges, victims, even though we don't know what their actual status is. But the judges have issued orders, which is why I can't disclose things I'd love to disclose, saying that you can't disclose this information. But Pam Bondi and the Justice Department and Donald Trump are not responsible for that. I don't know of any information that they could disclose that they haven't disclosed. Now, maybe there is some, but I'm simply not aware of it.
All right, so, Valerie was right, and we talked about that audio bite the other day. Dershowitz says it's not necessarily up to Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and so forth. I want to take one more call. I want to take Sharon on line 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Sharon, go ahead. Murfreesboro.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Everybody cares about this, really, except the people who are guilty, and maybe some, the girls may not have wanted out. But to me, the way this has been handled by this administration is absolutely disgusting. The girls deserve justice. I mean, these were all young girls. So now we have our president and our FBI and whoever. It looks like they're covering for the pedophiles. So they're still out there walking around and free. And this is what's wrong. And this is why so many people are mad about it.
And Sharon, you're absolutely right. And you bring up great points. You know, it's interesting, Joan, for all the, man, you got to quit talking about this, which I don't believe that I talk about it too much. But I think we took, 8, 9 calls. Not one person actually, Joan, said that we need to stop talking about this. I heard a lot of passion, actually, from some folks. So anyway, we'll continue. By the way, Jonathan Fahey is going to join us, illegal immigration update, maybe a Kilmar Abrego Garcia update as well. All of that straight ahead. Joan Jones has the news at 8. What's coming up, Joan?
Coming up here, some Cheatham County residents have something to cheer about this morning. Also, a judge is saying that an alleged killer is competent to stand trial. We've got that and more coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here. You know, weather in Middle Tennessee, it can get crazy, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter. Now, they are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. You can get a free quote and get peace of mind when you have one installed. Now, the Generator Supercenter does feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark, and financing is available. 615-879-1952. 615-879-1952. Find them online anytime. Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com.
For many of us,
Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking. I lost 70 pounds and my friend lost 20 pounds in the first 2 months.
Wow, what are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed for only $49.99.
Good morning. It's 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Got a serious accident to tell you about. 65 in the southbound lanes at Trinity Lane, exit 87. Careful in that area. In the news, the Tennessee Valley Authority has reversed course and decided not to pursue building a methane power plant in Cheatham County following strong opposition from the community and from country star John Rich.
We, the people, are very powerful when we all pull in the same direction. So, like I said, I'm so happy for that county, all the people that were about to lose everything they've had.
Yeah, property owners stood to lose their land under eminent domain. Rich says he called on President Trump to help out before the TVA pulled out. A Davidson County judge has determined that a man who murdered a Belmont University student is competent to stand trial. News Channel 5's Jennifer Krause says Shaquille Taylor will now stand trial for the killing of Jillian Ludwig.
This is evidently what convinced the judge. This recording was made as the DA's own expert psychologist evaluated Taylor.
Because it was an accident. It wasn't like I was paying for it.
The audio is a little hard to make out in our recording, but Taylor here discusses the shooting, how it happened, and when he learns there's surveillance video of the shooting, he asks to see it, so he tells the psychologist he can help determine what evidence there is against him.
Now, Jillian Ludwig was killed in 2023 after Taylor allegedly shot at a car, and one of the bullets hit Ludwig as she walked in a park nearby. The downtown library branch is set to reopen on July 29th now that extensive fire damage cleanup is complete. That library closed after a fire in the adjacent parking garage in early June. Teams have been cleaning and replacing walls, ceilings, and books by the thousands since then. The Federal Aviation Administration says 17 air traffic controllers are needed to bring BNA up to full staffing. Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn has new legislation that would exempt some air traffic controllers from mandatory retirement when they reach 56 years of age.
We all know that air traffic control is something that is vitally important to the flying public. This is something that is going to keep your most experienced air traffic controllers in the tower.
Yeah, she's also prompting the FAA to review its so-called Core 30 airports. BNA is not among them, even though it sees more air traffic than 5 of the airports on that list. Modernizing the air traffic control system has been talked about for years, and WSMV4's Amanda Hara.
The FAA got more than $12 billion from President Trump's policy bill, and part of the money will help replace aging radar systems.
And by policy bill, she actually means the big, beautiful bill. The funding is intended to be a down payment for major changes that could take years to complete. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Stocks are trading pre-market. Stocks are trading higher now. We've got the Dow futures up 171. The NASDAQ futures gaining 25 here, and the S&P futures are plus 15 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, so we've already mentioned that crash at Talbot's Corner this morning. It's on 65, southbound lanes at Trinity Lane, exit 87. And it looks very slow in that area this morning, very slow on 24 as you're traveling eastbound and joining with 65 there. Got a crash in Madison on Briley Parkway, the westbound lanes before Gallatin Pike, exit 14, and it takes out the right shoulder. And a crash in Paragon Mills, too, Harding Place near Nolansville Pike. One more, it's in Madison. It's on Briley Parkway eastbound at Gallatin Pike. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
'807 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Jonathan Fahey is going to join us here in just a moment. I do want to talk a little bit, just very quickly, about some economic news that has just come out. This is the headline from CNBC. Wholesale inflation measure was unchanged in June. And, Joan, they were expecting the producer price index. They were expecting this to be up a tick. But
0.2%.
Yeah, but
it was flat.
It was flat. So that is good news. The folks at this is not only producer price index, but a core PPI as well, which of course excludes food and energy.
My question for this, and I'm not seeing an answer to it so far, and I've been looking. If the wholesale prices didn't rise, why did the consumer prices rise? Is this retailers charging more, even though they haven't paid more?
A little price gouging, maybe?
Gouging, yes.
I don't know.
So, could be that because, you hear so much about it. You hear the media talking about, oh, my gosh, the tariffs are going to raise prices. And it almost gives them that ability, that door to open to raising prices.
It gives them a reason to, an excuse to raise those prices. They say that the measure of wholesale prices showing no change in June, providing a conflicting sign, they say, over whether tariffs threaten to boost inflation in the coming months. So who knows? I'm always been like this. I don't get too excited when the financial numbers look good, and I don't get too down when they look bad if it's a Republican Donald Trump in the White House. So we'll have to see how this whole thing shakes out. So Joan, thank you very much. Jonathan Fahey is joining us on the Newsmaker Hotline. Jonathan, always great to have you on. And there is every day there's a lot of news on illegal immigration. One of the things that I thought, but I want to talk about a few other things besides illegal immigration as well. It feels like right now on this, what is the day? Today is July 16th of 2025. It just feels like Tom Homan and Donald Trump, they're going to continue doing what they have to do regarding, getting the bad hombres out of here and getting the illegal aliens out of here, the gangbangers and so forth. And I think we're just sort of settling in for what is going to continue to be an attempt at the largest mass deportation in history.
I think you're exactly right, and I think they're really sort of getting into a rhythm, if you will, of doing this. And, the Democrats, as we've talked about before, they are fighting so hard absolutely on every single deportation. one, obviously just to thwart President Trump for the sake of thwarting President Trump, but also to, undermine the agenda because they want massive illegal immigration and amnesty. And I think really what the American people will have at least, a year and a half, or roughly a year and a half until the November elections of 2026. And I think the American people are going to see the benefits of this. They're going to see higher wages, which we're already seeing. We're going to see lower crime, which we're already seeing, lower overdoses and other things. And there'll be tangible benefits to the American people. But I do agree it will continue. You have Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, President Trump, Kristi Noem, Todd Lyons over at ICE. They are all committed to this, and they're not going to be intimidated by all the little tricks and games that the left is pulling on this.
One of the things, and I know that you and I think we've spoken about it before, but there's this rumor, possibility, whatever it is, that the president is going to have maybe a little bit of a carve out for the farming community and for hospitality. You got a lot of people that are screaming, oh my gosh, this is going to be amnesty. But as you and I have spoken about, no, it's a far cry between amnesty and coming up with or fixing the visa system so that we can just track who is where and we know what's going on. And by the way, get them on the books so that we can start charging them taxes on their, on their paychecks.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think there's going to be amnesty, and President Trump's been pretty clear on that. And I do think he is open to ways to deal with the immigration system. But the important thing to know is everything he has done and is doing is going to be what's in the best interest of the American people, which is contrary to the Biden administration, which was always the best interest of the Democratic Party and the illegal immigrants. But I do think there are probably adjustments that can be made. My concern over all of this is you saw this birthright citizenship thing hanging out there. So we have to correct that because you can't have it like a guest worker program or something else. And then if somebody has a kid here, that kid is a citizen. And, in many ways, it makes it harder to deport or remove the parent. And so I think that's something that really needs to be addressed. And I think if that was addressed in a way that eliminates that, I think we can have a much more flexible immigration system that would be, again, solely to benefit the American people, and the country as a whole, not, again, to sort of flood voters to the Democratic Party, which is what they want.
Do you think you're absolutely right? I want to play you an audio bite. I'm going to play it probably. Let me see if I have time now. Gavin Newsom was being interviewed by Sean Ryan, and need some audio, KGB. And he started talking about how great the things are going in California, right? And of course, we all know about the exodus that is going on within the state of California. I want to play for you what Gavin Newsom said, and I believe that he's being rather disingenuous. Listen.
So I'm wondering did you come here to hang out with the 92,000 Californians? Then
you hit me right there, man. The California exit. By the way, complete bullshit. Now, the last 2 years, we've seen significant growth in California's population. So it's reversed and record-breaking tourism. Now the fourth largest economy in the world. We dominate in every major industry.
So you'll notice, Jonathan, that he says, oh, no, in the last 2 years, we've got a lot of people coming into the country. But you'll notice that he's not being completely honest, and we'll talk about that straight ahead. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather today, a high of 95, possible showers as well. Right now, 85, feels like 92. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. All right, so Jonathan, clearly what Gavin Newsom failed to say is what you and I both know, which is that rise in California's population in the last 2 years, they're illegal aliens or the migrants, I'm air quoting, migrants that Joe Biden flew into California and America.
You're exactly right. Yeah, that's the population increases, illegal aliens. And what's really interesting, with California, we all know, it's a high-tax state, but they make up for it with poor quality services for the people that live there. And it's pretty amazing if you look at things, compare California, say, from the 90s to now, from the 80s to now. They used to be at the top of education. Now they're at the bottom. They used to, have low poverty rates. Now they're among one of the highest in the country. So this idea that he is doing anything good for California, and the only thing that California has going for them is really the weather and other things that have nothing to do with government. And, to talk about the fourth largest economy in the world. Okay, well, why do you have such a high poverty rate? Why is there such a, the Democrats used to compare about disparity in income from the rich and the poor. I think California has one of the highest. So everything he says is deceptive. I mean, Gavin Newsom is the guy. If you go and buy a new car, at the end of the sale, the guy that comes over, the slick manager's manager that tries to sell you the undercoating and the extended warranty, that's him. And we've all seen some version of Gavin Newsom in our lives, and there's an ick factor to it. But apparently the Democrats still kind of are impressed by this guy, which is remarkable if you think about it.
Well, and be careful, Jonathan Fahey, because I once made the observation that Gavin Newsom was just like a, slimy used car salesman. I had no idea how many used car salesmen listened to this radio program who were very upset with what I said.
Yeah, that was probably unfair, but he's just sort of, I probably shouldn't have used that example, but just this person that just seems like there's kind of just the slime factor. Will say anything to anybody.
Yes.
We could go into one room and say one thing, go into the next room 5 minutes later and say something the total polar opposite. And he's just very comfortable doing that, which again should make people cringe when you think about it. And again, it's the opposite of Donald Trump, because if you put him in a room with Democrats, you put him in a room with Republicans, he's Donald Trump. He's the same guy. If it's in front of the African-American community, wealthy billionaires, it's always Donald Trump. And I think that's what people like about him. And I think even though the left hates him, they respect that about him.
One of the things that I find interesting, that this whole thing with Epstein, and there's a lot of division between, some in the MAGA movement and others in the MAGA movement. You got all these, influencers and talk show hosts that have decided now to abandon that conversation. And so I find it interesting whether or not this will actually impact the midterm elections. I mean, I don't know if you have an opinion on the whole Epstein thing, but do you think it'll impact the midterm elections? Will it deaden people's enthusiasm to come out?
I don't think so. And, one is time. Obviously, things change over time. But I think what's going to, the midterm elections are going to be, a lot of it's going to be a report card on the Trump administration, I think. So if the economy is good, if the immigration's under control, if we're safer, I think it's going to be a good year for the Republicans. And I think we're trending in that direction pretty strongly. But I'm sure there's some people that are upset about it, but I don't think that makes them, there's the world of the people that stay home versus the people that, might vote the different way. And that also is harmful too. But I don't think ultimately that will be a big driver, but it may, there's certainly a lot of people it was important to them, and it still is, so it could affect their votes.
Now, Jonathan, are you ready for the big anti-Trump protests for tomorrow? Because, again, they're going to go out tomorrow and have some of these anti-Donald Trump, I don't know what the hell they call it, good trouble protests. Do these people just not have jobs or anything else to do?
Yeah, I think it's a combination, not jobs, nothing else to do. And it's sort of, people get meaning in their life from hating Donald Trump. It's very strange. Particularly, you see it in D.C. It's like people, their identity is wrapped around hating Donald Trump. It's so bizarre. It's, it's pathological in a lot of respects. But you see all the signs in the yards and stuff. And it is like, what if the Democrats, said, hey, why don't we have a day where we think of ways to make the country better, safer, stronger, more prosperous? It does seem like, it's always it's always about just ginning up their base. And maybe, again, I don't want to get too far ahead on the midterms, because maybe it will work just hating Donald Trump. But I do think the Democratic Party should go for something that's more constructive. But there's also just sort of the laziness factor about this. You have to admit, like, it's pretty easy just to like, oh, I hate Donald Trump. Like anything he does on the opposite, it doesn't take a lot of brain power or anything else. So I think there is some of that as well. It's like instead of like doing some some introspection and like, hey, what can we do better as a party? Let's just hate Donald Trump, call everyone that disagrees with us racist and the standard things in the trick bag, and it gets them through whatever's going on. But it's totally meaningless. I actually didn't know there was another one coming up until you mentioned it. But it's just
it's so
utter
funny, Jonathan.
nonsense.
I said that earlier. I do this show for 4 hours, and I do roughly 4 hours of reading every single day. I had no idea this was going on, but apparently, one of one of the things that they want to do. They're protesting over Donald Trump's crackdown on their protesting. Donald Trump is not cracking down on their protesting. They keep doing it.
No, it's so funny how they portray themselves as courageous and standing up to something that's not occurring. That's also a standard Democrat trick. Like, we're standing up because without us, you wouldn't have free speech in the country. It's like we have a lot more free speech under Donald Trump than we did under Joe Biden, as we've talked about before with the censorship. But you see some of this nonsense the left puts out there, and they, it really is. They have it's sort of, there's no meaning, and they have to create this caricature of Trump and then portray themselves as, heroic and standing up to him. But it's like, yeah, they have free speech. They just actually have nothing interesting, insightful, or useful to say in most respects.
All right. Jonathan Fahey, how can folks find you on X?
John for Fairfax, JONFORFAIRFAX.
All right, and we'll talk to you next time. Always great analysis. It is 8:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to get into, maybe, Joan, at 8:35, we are going to get into this CNBC article. It's courtesy of the Tennessean, actually, where they say, this was yesterday afternoon, the worst place to live in the U.S., Tennessee ranks, they say, dead last, below Alabama and Arkansas. And we're going to talk about why. And
wait, they mean that it is the worst place to live?
It's one of the worst places to live in America.
Are you kidding?
That's what they say. But when we talk about why, you're going to find out that this is just a bunch of BS. Stuart McWhorter was in here a while, development with the state of Tennessee. And he and I spoke about it just very briefly on the air because it wasn't the point of the interview. But a lot of this stuff has to do with the woke BS that is out there today. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more straight ahead. It is 8:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open at 615-737-9986. And Joan's got the news at 8:30. Joan.
Yeah, Metro Council votes to expand the business districts last night. Also, a man who attacked ICE agents in Texas is now under arrest. We've got that and more coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$823, Dan here, and I want to tell you about my friends at DT McCall's, a great Tennessee company. They are here for you. Yeah, you, their fellow Tennesseans, with great prices, great selection, and value as well. I've been telling you for years about these folks because I have been a customer for years of DT McCall's. They've been around for 3 generations, and if you need it, they've got it. Indoor furniture. If you've got a room to fill, go to DT McCall's. Of course, you know about their lawn mowers and the outdoor lawn equipment, appliances. If it plugs in, they've got it. They've always got specials going on, by the way, to save you money. All you got to do, go to the front page of their website, dtmccalls.com. You're going to see specials on great prices, the best brands of appliances like washer and dryer sets, dishwashers, and a whole lot more. They've been at it for over 100 years with a focus on customer service. And if you buy it, they'll deliver it for free and haul away the old stuff. Tell them Dan Nandis told you to reach out or stop by. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Always online, dtmccalls.com. 828, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. So I have lived all over the country, Joan, mostly because I can't keep a job.
Yeah.
So I'm totally
Well,
kidding.
you're working radio. I mean,
Town to town, up and down the dial, Joan.
yeah.
Anyway, so Tennessee, by far, is the best place that I've ever lived. By far.
Yeah.
So the headline in the Tennessean is, and again, this is courtesy of CNBC, the worst place to live in America, Tennessee ranks dead last. And a lot of this stuff they talk about, and I'm reading all of this. They say that crime rate in Tennessee has long dragged the state's reputation down. It's all Memphis.
It's all Memphis.
It's Memphis. I mean,
well,
if we could figure out a way to get rid of Memphis, man, we'd be.
I have to say, I get the feeling, and I haven't lived here long enough to say that this is absolutely true, but I get the feeling that crime has also ticked up here over the past, I don't know how long, because it's become more crowded.
Yes, that is true.
And
that is true. And we still are lacking in police officers.
Yes.
By the way, inclusiveness was another one of Tennessee's most grave weaknesses, they say.
Oh, my gosh.
The study specifically cites legislation limiting the rights of the LGBTQ plus population and the state's 2023 law.
Tell me what rights were limited. Tell me.
Ask them.
Yeah.
There have not been any.
Yep.
Unless you want to have, genitals of 6-year-olds cut off.
Right.
All right, moving right along. It is 8:30. On that note, it's 8:30 on WTN.
Good morning, 8:30. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. In Hendersonville, the work continues this morning on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard. So right now, they've got a left lane blocked off for the road work just before Gallatin Pike, and it's causing quite a delay this morning. Watch it if you're headed out to that area. In the news, Metro Council voted last night to expand the business district, even though it would push another tax onto Nashvillians to cover the cost of policing that area and keeping it clean. Public comment on that issue.
I'll take anything. If there's more restaurants or more activities to do around the area, that'd be great.
Drawing in more locals, drawing in more tourists, and drawing in millions of dollars of revenue that gets invested in our core and returns to the rest of the city.
The Business Improvement District will now include the Gulch and Capitol View. A 5-year-old Kentucky boy with autism has been found dead after an alert was issued for him. His name's Silas Cheerer. He was reported as having walked away from his home about 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday, still wearing his pajamas. Police have not said how he died. A man accused of taking part in a coordinated attack at an ICE facility in Texas earlier this month has now been arrested.
According to prosecutors, Benjamin Hanil Song joined 11 others in an ambush against law enforcers at an immigrant detention center on July 4th, the wounding of a local police officer. The other suspects, some carrying assault rifles and wearing tactical gear, were caught that night. Song, a 32-year-old former Marine reservist, was found and arrested Tuesday.
ABC's Jim Ryan. And you'd think that being the world's #1 golfer would be the best feeling in the world, but Scotty Scheffler is throwing cold water on that notion. The 29-year-old says that golf is not the most important thing in the world to him.
I'm blessed to be able to come out here and play golf, but if my golf ever started affecting my home life or it ever affected the relationship I have with my wife or with my son, that's going to be the last day that I play out here for a living because, I would much rather be a great father than I would be a great golfer. That at the end of the day, that's what's more important to me.
Scheffler has won more tournaments and more majors than any player over the past 3 years. Money News brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. A nice start on Wall Street this morning. The Dow Jones Industrials plus 152, the NASDAQ up 21 points, and the S&P 500 index is up 14. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
8:33 on Nashville's Morning News. Hey, Joan, you want to play a Fun with Audio?
Okay, yeah.
Coming up at 8:35.
Good.
So if you folks don't know what it is, Fun with Audio is I just play audio and we just react to it. And so that's what we're going to do. Because I got a whole bunch of audio bites that I haven't even used yet that I have not heard because they come from this other place. So I have not actually listened to these. Gentlemen, make sure that we're in delay. And we'll do that coming up.
Good plan.
Good plan at 8:34. Dan Med is here for Specialty Coatings. Now, listen, if you are a business owner and you've got some concrete floors and they look terrible, they need some love, Specialty Coatings can help you. Now, they specialize in concrete floor coatings and polished concrete. They've been doing it for 30 years, and you've probably seen and walked on some of their incredible concrete floor coatings. They've done all the major sports stadiums, arenas, and convention centers as well. You know, just last year, Specialty Coatings in Nashville installed over 1 million square feet of coatings for businesses across Tennessee. Now, those buildings include manufacturing, warehouses, airplane hangars, retail, and a lot more. Now, their flooring, it just looks absolutely magnificent. You know, if you own a business and somebody walks in and your floor looks terrible, that is a reflection on your business. Specialty Coatings can help you. They've got the equipment and the skilled installers, so your job is going to be done on time, on budget. It's going to be done right. So no matter how bad your floor looks, Specialty Coatings can fix it. And by the way, each project is customized to your building, your business, and your needs. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-591-9491. Check out their handiwork, examples of what they can do for you, specialtycoat.com. Email them, it's sales@specialtycoat.com. Dan Med is here from Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, if you're thinking about selling your home, now is the time. With Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer, you can sell your home quickly and for maximum value. Now, you can make the most of your July by selling your home with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, you're going to be able to skip all the hassles of a traditional home sale and sell your home quickly without the stress of showings, open houses, or costly repairs. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed all-cash offer allows you to sell your home in as little as 21 days and move when you're ready. They've got over 13,000 five-star reviews. You can trust the top real estate team in America to sell your home stress-free and for the most money. Call them at 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. You can find them online anytime. MarkSpain.com to get that guaranteed offer on your home today. This is MarkSpain.com and start packing.
Okay, they're still working on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard in Hendersonville this morning in the westbound lanes before Gallatin Pike. The left lane is blocked off by that road work this morning, and it's causing quite a bit of a backup there. Belmead, Harding Pike at Highway 100, there is a crash. Another one this morning also in Belmead on Harding Pike at Percy Werner Boulevard. 24 in the westbound lanes in Glencliff. You've got an accident at Briley Parkway South exit 54. And also in Hermitage this morning on 40. Westbound at Stewart's Ferry Pike exit 219. Watch out for another crash. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
8:38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in to the crisscross handoff minus Chris.
Oh, yeah.
He's what is he doing right now?
He's taking his kids to camp.
Okay. Where are they
He's got
camping?
to be a dad. I don't know.
All right.
You know, it's that day camp kind of thing.
Yes, thank you, Joan.
Yeah.
Tents in the whole thing?
No, not tents.
Well, it's not camping if you don't have tents. If you don't have like mosquitoes,
right,
and you don't come home with all of your clothes smelling like campfire, and you haven't ingested all of the carcinogens from the burnt marshmallows, with the campfire,
that's the best.
then it's not really camping. Then it's just glamping.
Do you like them crispy or like on fire?
Do you know what? I'm ashamed to say I'm an on fire kind of guy.
Me too. I'm not a guy, but
I'm horrified because supposedly when you and this might be an old wives' tale. I could ask my old wife. She's texting me probably right now. But there's an old wives' tale maybe that literally burning your marshmallows causes cancer. It's a carcinogen. Is that true or not?
So I just looked it up. While eating burnt marshmallows is generally considered safe in moderation, excessive consumption could pose some health risks. The burning process can create potentially harmful compounds. And so if you eat a lot of the compounds, yes, the burning food can create polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons.
Nice.
Yes, thank you.
That was like worse than a Middle Eastern name.
So, yeah, they're saying any foods, if you do it at high heat, could produce carcinogens.
Well, I'm an extra crispy kind of guy for like everything.
Yeah.
Like Amy hates, like we can barely share pizza because I like it extra crispy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I like it a little crunch. You know what I'm talking about.
Wow.
So.
Okay.
I do. I like. You can text Amy and ask her because you and Amy are now texting friends.
Let me talk to her. Hey, Amy.
So earlier in the broadcast, I forget how it even came up, but you were asking, or somebody was asking about my brown recluse bite on the back of my leg.
Yes, that's not a recluse spider bite.
I basically said that it was a big zit on the back of my leg, and Amy says, "Well, it's Joan and Amy are texting back and forth." And Amy said, it's probably an ingrown hair. He exaggerates everything.
She said, I bet it's an ingrown hair. I've been bit twice by a brown recluse, and he'll be fine. And I said, Stumpy is going to be okay.
Wow. Did she agree with the nickname Stumpy? I bet she did. Hey, Chris, by the way, sent me a text.
Oh, yeah?
He says, it's a good camp. Don't worry. It's not alligator Alcatraz. So there you go.
I have no doubt.
My daughter's here in town.
Yes.
So yesterday, and then we're going to get the fun with audio. But my grandson is here too. So my daughter, my grandson. And so I don't know what is up with this kid. Like, I don't know. Do I give off like weird heebie-jeebie vibes, Joan?
No.
Because every time I hold this kid, he screams.
Oh.
Like every time I hold him, and I could tell like the eyes get all like wide and he just starts like doing the whole tears thing. And then he just starts screaming. I don't know what the deal is.
You need to know what the things are that he likes. So, go for, he's 9 months, you said?
Yes.
All right. So it might be a little early for chocolate chip cookies, but.
Oh, it's way too early for chocolate chip cookies.
Well,
Amy, he starts screaming, with me. I hand him over to Amy, and he just quiets right down. So I think he likes the chicks.
She's got the mama feel.
Oh, she does.
Yeah.
She sure does.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know what it is. But last night, we actually had a little bit of a victory where he did not scream for 3 minutes.
And after 3 minutes, he did?
He started screaming.
Okay.
Anyway. But he got to play in the pool. Yesterday.
Love that.
And I told him, pointing finger right in his face. I said, Jameson, no peeing in my pool. At the age of 9 months. He's got one of those swimmy diapers on.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta have those.
All right. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little worried about this particular soundbite.
Oh, because you think it might be...
It might be. So we're in delay, right?
Yeah.
So this is Greg Gutfeld. And somebody sent this to me, and I know what the content is. I haven't actually listened to it. So this is Greg Gutfeld on The Five.
This is why the criticism doesn't matter to us when you call us Nazis, Nazi this, Nazi that. You know, I'm beginning to think they don't like us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks. The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it. So from now on, it's what up, my Nazi? Hey, what up, my Nazi?
Wow.
Hey, what's hanging, my Nazi?
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
What up, my Nazi? See, it just sounds awkward when I say it. It does.
It does. I have to admit.
But you know what? He brings up a point, and the point is a good one, which is I don't think anybody is really paying attention anymore to those criticisms. Because honestly, I mean, this has been going on for how long now? And for most of us, I just don't think anybody really cares about being called a Nazi anymore.
Or a fascist.
I know that or a fascist.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I just don't. All right, Autopen scandal. Have you been following the Autopen scandal at all?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. So I have not heard this. Here's what I know so far about the Autopen scandal. And I know all the basics, and it seems like the latest on the Autopen scandal is that Biden gave an interview to the New York Times. He stands by all of those 1,500 pardons, right? And but then there are people within the Biden administration that are now talking, and they're saying that some of the things that were autopenned were actually approved and executed by other people within the administration.
Yeah.
So is there anything other than that as far as an update goes, or do I pretty much have it all?
I think you have it all. A lot of people are looking at, he did all those Autopen pardons at the end of his term. And so there are some people that are saying, well, there's an actual way that they can be invalidated.
How? Because I've got a pair of handcuffs for Anthony Fauci.
Well, and that is exactly who Rand Paul says would be the first.
See, I think that the majority of Americans who know anything about Anthony Fauci know that he deserves to be in handcuffs. Like there's just so many reasons why, but we'll save that conversation for another day. But you look at all of the pardons. Like who would you like to handcuff? Anthony Fauci, Alejandro Mayorkas. You know what? The super text line is open. I need like a top three. Who is your top three? Who would you like to handcuff and throw in prison? Alejandro Mayorkas, Anthony Fauci. Those are my top two. I'm not sure who my third would be.
Mayorkas deserves it more than anybody. And when I think about 300,000 lost children in this country, lost children.
Yep.
That's on him. That's on him and solely on him. He knew it was happening.
Yeah.
And these children are lost.
And he lied about it. He lied about it incessantly.
Yes.
They lied about the border being secure, all that kind of stuff. So I think, boy, that's a tough one. Who's number one, Fauci or Mayorkas?
Rand Paul said he's going to reissue a criminal referral of Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Liz Cheney is another one. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Liz Cheney,
Hunter
Nancy
Biden.
Pelosi, and Benny Johnson, all of the people on that panel.
Benny Johnson. Oh, so Benny Johnson does not deserve to be in handcuffs. Benny Johnson is a pro-Trump podcaster.
No, okay. Oh, who am I
Adam
thinking
Schiff
of?
is
Who am I
another
thinking
one.
of?
I don't know. You said Benny Johnson, so.
People on the January 6th. Somebody already knows it, I'm sure.
Oh, Benny. Yep. I don't remember. Anyway, there's this piece
Benny
of
Thompson.
Benny Thompson. That's right.
Oof.
All right. So this is a story from NBC News, and this is the description. All right. NBC News running for cover for Biden and the Autopen pardon scandal by conducting their own analysis of Comer's digital signature on oversight documentaries.
Isn't this great?
So I don't know. I haven't listened to it. So let's listen.
An unexpected new twist in the investigation into former President Biden's use of the Autopen. Let's bring in NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles. What's going on there?
Well, Chris, NBC News conducted an analysis of the communications that the chair of the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, has used to bring in former members of the Biden White House to ask them questions about Biden's use of the Autopen and his cognitive decline in office. And what we discovered is that of the 16 letters that Comer sent to these staffers, that they were all signed with the use of a digital signature, meaning that he did not actually sign these documents.
Are they really doing this?
Yeah, they are.
Are they really doing? There's never been one indication that James Comer is cognitively impaired.
Yeah.
Not one.
Yeah. And it's a little bit different when we're talking about a president of the United States who's like mentally impaired.
Yes.
And James Comer. I mean,
NBC
honestly,
really did this. All right, I'm genuinely interested as to how this goes. So
go ahead.
All right, so this is more James Comer, of course, House Oversight Committee chair.
Himself, similar to what he's accusing President Biden of not doing. Now, what he did do was use a wet signature, as it's called, for the actual subpoena requests for 2 Biden officials, including the White House physician Kevin O'Connor. But everything else was used with a digital signature. Now, that's not to say any of that is out of bounds. In fact, it's pretty common practice, not only in Congress, but in the executive branch, to use digital signatures or signatures that are not necessarily by the hand of the official who is signing them. But it is the crux of this investigation that the Oversight Committee is conducting.
That's not the crux of the investigation. The crux of the investigation is that Joe Biden had no idea what he was signing. If you ask James Comer, hey, James, what exactly is it are you Autopen signing? He would tell you immediately, I'm signing, this, that, and the other, whatever it is, and this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it. Joe Biden, there's no way that he could tell you what he auto-signed.
Right.
Autopen. There's no way. And so NBC, boy, this is absolute truth where they are running, they're trying to give Joe Biden some cover here. I mean, this is astounding. Should I go and finish it?
Yeah, go ahead.
What were we going to say?
So James Comer posted a picture of Ryan Nobles, who's the reporter on NBC, and he's, and there's the headline under him. It says, "Scoop, Comer uses Adobe Acrobat to sign some letters." And he puts orange hair on him, a big red nose, makes him look like a clown. It's so funny.
Well, yeah, and it's not only, this reporter, but it's all of NBC. It's like, is this really what you're trying to do? All right, let's listen to a little bit more.
Somehow, Biden's use of an auto pen or a signature that was not by his own hand thereby makes whatever he signed be invalid. And what we discovered over the course of this report is that the central tenet of this investigation is trying to determine whether or not Biden's use of an auto pen was because he was not in control of the decisions that were being made. And in an interview with the New York Times, Biden made it clear that he authorized all the clemency decisions that were handed down.
All 1,500. All 1,500 or however many. It's like 1,500, right?
Yeah. Yes, I think it was.
You know what if the New York Times really wanted to do their jobs, you know what they would have said? All right, tell us what, Joe Blow did. Because he was number 842 on the list of people that you gave clemency to or pardoned or whatever. Tell me what it is that he did and why did you grant him clemency or a pardon? You think Joe Biden could handle that?
He would not know.
No.
He didn't remember when the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, said that he was talking to Biden and he said, why would you go and cancel all those contracts for the oil?
Yes.
And Biden said, I didn't do that. I didn't do it.
And Mike Johnson's like, you just did.
Yeah, I just saw it. You just did.
I just saw it. Yeah.
And
that's
he insisted he didn't know that he did that because he didn't do it.
This is actually comical what NBC News
by his administration, even though he did allude to the fact that perhaps not all of them were signed with his actual hand. Of course, Chris, this is just the beginning of this investigation by the House Oversight Committee. They plan to call in a number of Biden officials to get to the core of this question. When Biden said that I want something done, was it signed by him or someone else?
It's signed by someone else, by Autopen, late at night.
So then the big question becomes, what do they do from here? Suppose they determine that, he did Autopen and he didn't even know who he was pardoning. What happens?
See, that's what I've been asking. It's like, okay, so what are you gonna do about it?
Right. They need guts, real guts, to go out there and do something about it.
I think you have to make an example, and the most egregious pardons. And so you're talking about, I mean, to me, the most egregious pardons are Fauci and Mayorkas, Hunter Biden as well, the entire Biden family, with all of that money that came flowing through these, these nations, going through those shell companies, ultimately landing in all those bank accounts of all those Biden family members. I think all of them, those pardons need to be revoked.
Also, the notion that these pardons can be for anything in the past or in the future.
Oh,
though I think it's that whole barrel of pardons that need to be taken away.
It's a barrel of BS. That's what it is, Joan.
Absolutely.
A barrel of B and S. All right, it's 8:54 on Nashville's Morning News because, Joan is right. And 5281 says, yeah, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Valerie says Rashida Tlaib. Did she get a pardon?
No, I don't think so.
No, but I like to put her in handcuffs anyway, and not for a good reason.
Jill Biden, for letting her husband be abused in the first place. That's despicable what she did.
Absolutely. Jill Biden, sure. Hunter Biden. And, I mean, the list goes on and on.
Adam Kinzinger.
Luckily,
yes.
Oh, Adam Kinzinger.
Crybaby Kinzinger.
Luckily, this day is over for me. And thanks to everybody who called in earlier, by the way. I love doing those call-in segments. It is so much fun. Chris Hand is coming up after the news at 9. I'm sure he's got something stellar. Is he going to make it on time? Is he here?
Let me see. No, I do not see him.
Man, if I have to start Chris Hand's monologue, I'm not going to be a happy camper. Which is what his kids are doing, and they're probably are going to be happy campers. Yeah. Anyway, Joan, I need to quit speaking. Go.
Yeah, a heat advisory for today and tomorrow, and the TVA backing off the plans for a natural gas plant in Cheatham County. That's coming up here at 9 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, here we are in the middle of summer, and that means it is moving season, a time filled with hours of packing, unpacking, and, of course, so much bubble wrap. But the first thing you should do when moving into your new home is make sure that the Wi-Fi is booming with Xfinity. It is super quick and easy to set up. And then, of course, boom, you have great internet, reliable internet. You'll have your new home hooked up with the ultimate Wi-Fi experience faster than the time it takes to parallel park a moving truck. Then you'll be back online with the most reliable Wi-Fi with the best in-class equipment from Xfinity. So you can just kick back, relax, and stream your favorite movies and TV shows while someone else deals with all those boxes. Because with Xfinity, the only thing you have to worry about is remembering where you pack the remote. Make the right and easy move with Xfinity. Learn more at xfinity.com/move. Restrictions apply, not available in all areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi claim based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.